Mm-hmm.
Good evening, Geek Nation. I'm George, and this is That Geek Show, the show where we talk about the latest and greatest from the worlds of collecting, movies, video games, TV, and tech. And with me, as always, to break all this stuff down, is that sometimes politically incorrect brother from another mother, my man Calvin, the statue fanatic. What's up, brother?
What's up, everybody? Just so everybody know, my redemption tour will start next week. I'll try to redeem myself from my last week's debacle.
All right, man. Well, we'll see what happens next week. You know, prior to that debacle last week, the only one that was politically incorrect and possibly has a slight bit of Tourette's, I would probably say more likely on that than not, is the Pop Knight, Seth. How are you, Seth? Where's Seth?
Fuck you in the face.
Oh my God! Really, Seth?
you said Tourette's, so I'm giving you Tourette's.
You look more like a chipmunk.
Whatever. What's poppin', everybody? It's Monday night, and we are live.
All right. Then we also have my man in the house, Junior Statue Collector. What's up, buddy?
Yo, what's up, everyone? What's up, Cal? George, Seth? What's everybody doing? Chat.
What's up?
All right, man. Glad to be here, man. How's everybody doing out there today?
Doing good. We're doing good.
Good.
All right, and then also coming to us from 90 Miles from Comics, we got that comic connoisseur, Chad. How are you, buddy?
Yo, what's going on, guys? I'm doing very well. I'm happy to be back. Thank you for having me, man.
Hey, man. Glad to have you back, though.
What's up, chat?
Hey, what's going on, Junior? Everything good over there, man?
Good.
Are you staying warm up there, bro? Because, it's like, it's perfect weather down here in South Florida. I'm not going to boast or anything,
Yeah, I'm hating right now. Let's not talk about it.
All right, guys. And tonight we have special guest, Gene St. Jean, in the house. If you guys haven't known this guy yet, this guy is an amazing sculptor. The most recent pieces that we've seen is the Deadpool, the Cable, and the Hobgoblin. So welcome, Gene. How are you, buddy? Thanks for being here.
Hey, guys. I appreciate the invite. I'm always ready to talk about toys and sculpture and stuff like this.
Oh, man, we're very happy to have you.
Absolutely. That's what keeps us young, right?
Yep. Can't wait to get into
Never stop playing with toys.
In Calvin's case, old and politically incorrect.
Oh my God! So we have to, like Seth. This show, we have a point. This is not MC After Hours. Okay, we have a guest, so behave when we have guests. Okay, learn to behave.
Gene, if you haven't been on the show before, my fellow brothers over here sometimes they get a little bit rowdy. So just bear with them. But they're mostly good guys.
I watched a couple of the episodes.
He did his homework.
At least he knows what he's in for.
He did his homework. Yeah, he did his homework.
All right.
We got 24 people up in the chat right now. Let me just say hi to everybody. We got my brothers in the house, John Medina. We got Barbara Lopez in the house. We got Discovery Bay Comics up in here.
Yeah, what's up, Discovery Bay?
We got Roy Schneider coming to us from around the world. Pinche Borracho's in the house. Orale homie. Right, we got Edwin Diaz. We got Junior Statue Collector hanging up in there with everybody. Bronx Collections is up in the house. Adrian is in the house. We got a lot of people coming in. That's cool. All right, man. So, Gene, buddy, I was first introduced to your work recently at San Diego Comic-Con because Calvin is a big collector of the Diamond Select pieces that you do. I gotta admit, I'm very impressed with the work for such a small scale statue. You pack in a lot of detail. So, how did you get started doing all this, man?
Well, I before I got into this stuff, my degree is actually in music. I studied classical piano composition. Only a hip way to make a living as far as cash flow. So I started doing this stuff. I got back into comics around the time of the first Tim Burton Batman movie. And
the only Batman movie.
Yeah. And I started reading books, started collecting some toys like the Superpowers collection. And then I started doing a little custom work and got a job at a studio that did mostly collectible dolls and, like Mattel kind of Barbie stuff and Ashton Drake and things. They really didn't do was started as kind of like a scrub sculptor and mold maker. And then I got an opportunity to send a portfolio into McFarlane. So around 98, I went to work for McFarlane. First job I did for him was a Medusa for Spawn, I think it was Series 13. And then I worked at McFarlane for a couple of years, and they put me in charge of the sculpture department. And I was there with those guys for about 6.5 years. And then I started freelancing from there. And Sierra at Diamond, and he wanted to work with me in whatever capacity. So I've been with Diamond for 12, 13 years, something like that. And from that point, I was also starting to work with DC Direct and Mezco. I did a couple of pieces for Sideshow, a bunch of stuff for Gentle Giant. Mostly the collectible companies, not the mass companies. Like I did some Hasbro way back in like 96 or 97 at my first job, but predominantly Diamond, DC, and Mez, a couple of the other guys. And again, after that Batman movie, and it turned out that I had a knack for this. I always drew a little bit, but it turned out I had a knack for it, and it just sort of became a career after that point. And unlike music, this stuff, knock on wood, whenever I went for a gig, I got the gig. It just sort of, everything came really easy. I spent a lot of time doing it, but so it just sort of feels like I was meant to do this stuff. And I dig it too. So, what's the downside of sculpting superheroes and monsters all day? There's kind of no downside.
I agree.
So if you do what you love, you'll never work a day in your life, right?
It has its moments of suck, but for the most part, I really can't gripe about it because it is a really cool way to work. And I work from home, and my relationship with Diamond has been really tight for a long time. So they're super cool to work for. So it's kind of why I predominantly have worked with them. So they just make it really easy to work with.
So, Gene, I kind of feel I'm a huge fan. When you agreed to come on the show, I was like, oh my God, I got a little nervous there for a little bit. And working with Diamond, as long as you've been working with them, how much creative freedom do they give you? Do you get to come up with characters? You say, hey, I want to do this character because you love this character. Are you in that position when you want to see something, you get to go and say, hey, I want to see this character?
Well, in general, the thing that I like about Diamond is they really do try to match the artist with a project that they want to do, because ultimately you want someone who wants the gig, because you want them to put their best effort into it and have a feel for it. And they've always, from day one, they've been the Marvel Milestone statues in the early 2000s. And I think out of the 6 pieces I did, I designed all of them, except for I did a Daredevil cover where he's kind of draped over what's her name? Electra's Grave, like the cross cover. It's a Frank Miller cover. That was the only one that was actually from a cover. The rest of them, they basically let me design them. And the way it usually works is I'll have an idea and I'll bat it back and forth with Chuck a little bit, and then he just lets me run with it. And the prevailing formula works, and Marvel's always been awesome to work with. It's slightly different now, since the only difference with Disney taking over is that a lot of times we have to submit a more official kind of concept to them to approve before we roll on it. But generally, because they're kind of used to the work that I do, I can take a little bit of creative liberty with the work and take it where I want it to go, in addition to what we have conceptually. And they're pretty cool with it, because generally, you know, I know a few of the guys appropriate for, and it looks cool, then we'll be fine with it. So I guess the short answer to your question is yes, there's a lot of creative.
That's awesome, man. I first got to know your work. I bought this Spawn figure and I never knew who made it, so I decided to do a video of it. And I did some research to find out, oh wow, you did that. And then I started looking at the other figures. I'm like, I have that. I own that. I didn't know that you did the work. I just think you do so much work, and you probably don't get all the credit you should get, because man, you have a body of work that is incredible.
When I started in the industry, like I guess it was like mid '90s, like the way it worked is that no one knew anyone that did anything. And part of that was, as different art directors within companies, they didn't even necessarily share their sculptors and painters with other directors in the company, because they wanted to appropriate them just for their jobs. And they didn't want to share their guys with different companies. And it was easy then because there's no internet. But really, I think Diamond was one of the first companies that started to actually promote the artists that on the one side, that artist does get his name around, and maybe he starts picking up gigs from other companies. But on the flip side, they try to develop artists that are going to draw people in to collect that guy's work in addition to certain characters. You know, so you sort of build a clientele for each one of your stable artist guys. And then a lot of the companies started to do that. The collectible companies understood the value of that. The mass market companies are still kind of old school. Like, you're not at a Mattel package or Playmates or anything like that. They still kind of stick to the old school thing. But the flip side of that is you go on social media and you can plaster your work all over the place, so you get your own name out there. But as far as box credit, you know.
Absolutely. I'm going to let the other guys ask questions. I just want to say one more thing, man. I was completely hooked when I found out that your favorite characters are Universal Monster characters. Those were some of the first figures that I ever collected, you know, more than 10, 15 years ago. So huge fan.
Oh, cool. Yeah, that was when they since a guy that I knew from years before, he actually did the first 4 figures before I even knew they had the license. But they had me kind of review the figures as kind of an adjunct art director. I've done that for a long time with Diamond. And I was kind of like, oh, crap, man, this cat got the whole gig. But then as they expanded the line, I got a couple more. Like, I did the very first Wolfman they did, and then I did the Bride. And there was a couple other guys working on odds and ends, but then just, I can't remember what every that way, and I pretty much did all the rest of them. So I was working on Universal for like 5 years. I mean, it finally tanked out like 2 years ago after we did a redo of the Mummy and the Wolfman. And then I think the Lucy Western Row was kind of like the original character. But Yeah, I love that stuff. I can't believe we got into stuff like the Mole Man and Metal Enemy.
Not gonna ask a question here.
Maybe.
How long does it take you to do one of these pieces? For example, let's take Deadpool.
Ideally, maybe it takes like 2 to 3 weeks, but I generally work on a lot of pieces at the same time. You know, like especially since majority of my work's with diamond, like I try to like if I'm doing gallery stuff or if I'm doing premiere stuff, I work on a few together so that I can kind of establish what my take is on the scale. So like I think when I was working on Deadpool, I was working on Cable the same time, right? You know, it's obviously the Deadpool, I mean, they gave me really tight drawings. So those sculpts are pretty much right on to the drawings they gave me. And, but the decision was like, how much bigger do I want to make Cable than Deadpool? And Deadpool had very kind of like normal human proportions other than being super jacked. So I worked on those about the same time. So what ends up happening, I bounce back and forth between a few different projects. So to tell you exactly, it's hard to say, but I figured probably be about 2.5, 3 weeks. Something like Cable, probably a month to do all that stuff with all the guns and all the doodads all over the place.
Wow, that's not bad. That's actually pretty. So you're really good at what you do then.
So I got a question for you, Gene. Have you ever been offered to do a piece that you said no to simply just because you didn't like what you were being offered to design, or have you ever turned down to do something in general?
Generally, it more comes down to what my schedule looks like. Just because I wanted to force myself to do something that wasn't particularly something I was into, but it would force me to kind of study like portraiture or whatever. But generally speaking, I'm so swamped all the time that I kind of cherry pick the stuff I really want to do. But there's been a lot of jobs I had to turn down that I wanted really bad, but I was already just swamped. You know, so
I've got two more questions to ask you, and then I'll pass it on to someone else. Have you ever been? Of course, just everybody's going to laugh at this. Have you ever been approached by Funko to ever sculpt anything for them?
Not ever trying to get there.
No,
I'm just asking.
Well, I mean, realistically speaking, I mean, anything that you look at that's kind of pretty simplistic and repetitive, they're going to be able to take they're going to have kind of a digital buck, I would imagine, on those. Although maybe in the beginning they were probably traditional sculpts. But I would imagine at this point there's probably a digital buck with that kind of like marshmallow looking head,
yeah,
little body, and then they make revisions to sort of that digital buck in the same style. And so I don't, you know, in terms of how I would do it, I mean, I couldn't really see the value of bringing somebody like me in to do that, especially like ever since I worked at McFarlane and I did a bunch of Warcraft stuff, the stuff people look at me for is like stick detail stuff. So, which usually is, as much as I love doing that stuff, it sort of screws you over too. So you get all the really complicated pain in the ass jobs because like, oh, Gene will do that. He'll kill that. And in me,
yeah, and
and
then
so short answer, no, I haven't heard from those
and
guys.
then the last question I have: do you happen to have any of those in your collection that's behind you?
Yeah, I think I have a classic Aquaman. I just picked up a Green Hornet because I love Green Hornet. I think.
Oh, nice.
I don't like the way it looks, but there's like no Green Hornet product, and I can't talk anybody into.
Did you just buy the Green Hornet one by itself?
Yeah, I was contemplating getting that exclusive where they had Kato also.
Yeah, they had the 2-pack with him and Kato. Yeah.
Yeah. So I just big fan of those. Like I'll pick up characters I really like. Like I think I have a Adam West Batman.
Oh, cool.
And I got all the Planet of the Apes ones.
Nice.
Because that's one of my things too. But when I saw the regular Green Hornet one, I just didn't really feel like it was worth getting the other set just to get Kato.
Sure.
As much as I dig that team, I mean, if I had to pick like a second string superhero team for me, like it's Batman and Robin's always first. Green Hornet and Kato would be a really close second. But the pop thing isn't really my bag, other than I had.
Yeah.
All right.
I just had to ask, just because I'm a Funko guy. So you know, I just I always like asking other people. I always like asking people like, do they collect other stuff other than like statues and comics and things like that. That's I just think it's interesting to always find out what other people collect.
Yeah. I mostly stick to action figures, like 6-7 inch scale. I have a few pops, and the Funko thing I really do like is I like that rock candy stuff. I have a bunch of those.
Oh, okay.
And I do like the I like this some Savage. I was never a fan of He-Man. Like I was in high school when He-Man was on TV, and I had zero interest. In high school, it was all about bands for me. And even like more recently, like I hate the classic He-Man figure look, but I really liked the 2000X stuff that the Horsemen did, and I have some of the more monstery creatures that those guys did in the classic reboot line. But I hate that 80s sculpting style. But something about this stuff, like I love the Pinhead they did, and I have a couple of the Thundercats, and I've been picking up all the Batmans. I don't know what it is. I just dig the vibe for whatever reason. Like,
since you said you collect figures, do you happen to collect any of the Marvel Legends figures?
Oh yeah, I have a ton of those. I'm much less of a Marvel guy than a DC guy.
Okay.
But I have a ton of Marvel Legends, especially Toy Biz stuff, which
yeah.
Like
that was the stuff I had when I was growing up when I was a kid.
Yeah. When I was growing up in my 30s, I was buying the Marvel Legend. But yeah, I mean, I like that stuff. Anything, I don't even necessarily have to know the character. As long as it looks cool, I'll pick it.
That's cool.
So Julio Batista in the chat.
Years, they've kind of got their act together sculpting wise. Because when Hasbro first took over Marvel Legends, they just were crap.
Yeah, now they're looking good. Yeah, now they're putting out some decent stuff.
Yeah, it's really nice looking stuff now. It took a while for them to get there, but.
So
I got somebody in the chat. I guess I'm not following the entire question. Maybe you might know what they're talking about, Gene. I lost the chat there. Can somebody pick up the question about the
Well, I know what question you were going to ask, but there was a question asked before, and I think that's what you were going to ask.
That's what I was
George,
about
right?
to ask before again.
Yeah.
So Julio Batista.
Yeah, go ahead and ask it.
Yeah, Julio Batista asked, "What is your dream piece to sculpt?" Which I'm kind of thinking now it's the Green Hornet since you brought that up.
I'd really like to do that, and the other thing I'd really like to do is Planet of the Apes. I've never gotten
That would be
any
cool.
of that stuff.
classic Planet of the Apes or this new modern Planet of the Apes?
No, the classic stuff. I mean, the new stuff's cool because I mean,
you got to go Heston on that. Yeah, you can't do that new stuff.
General, but the old Planet of the Apes where they have the cool uniforms and stuff.
Yeah.
Really what I'm about.
You need to sculpt a Dr. Zaius. I would totally buy that.
Yeah.
I think Zane and I are soulmates because Planet of the Apes is my all-time favorite sci-fi movie ever.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's mine too. When I was a kid, when that came out, what did it come out? The first one came out in like
1968.
68. So I was 3 when it came out, and I remember seeing it really early on because I was like 1 in 66, and that's when I started watching the Batman show. So by the time I had seen those a few times on TV, I was like 7 or 8, and I remember me and my brother running around like apes in the yard. We played Planet of the Apes, and whoever drew the short straw played the human.
Yeah, it's one of those shows when you get older and you watch it too. The social commentary that show has is pretty amazing, and if you watch it, it even holds up till today. I really love that series.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I loved it. Even the TV series too, when they switched it over to Galen as the main ape and all that.
They only did 14 episodes of that, I think, for the TV series.
Yeah, it was 13 or 14. But yeah, that maybe even more than Green Hornet, but they're kind of neck and neck. But man, I'd love to work on that. And the problem is like, who had the license other than Funko? There was like NECA did some action figures, which were really awesome. Diamond did some boots before like Dr. Migo started doing his thing, and obviously the new Marty, whatever his name is, Migo stuff. And then who was the other one? And Pop Culture Shock did a really cool Ursus on a horse. But I think all those guys found that the license didn't really have legs, I would imagine. Otherwise, the only reason a company cancels a line is because there isn't enough call for it, so all those companies kind of bail because it may make some cool Soldier Ape variants. But so that would be one of the ones, but there'd have to be a resurgence in that license, and the 3 new movies didn't really seem to make it happen. I think that they were probably too far away from what the original movie looked like. Although I pretty much liked him,
except the Mark Wahlberg version wasn't my favorite.
Yeah, I mean, I love the designs of those costumes, but kind of a typical Tim Burton movie. Like the visual concept was really cool, but the story was just. With a lot of his stuff, the visualization is fantastic, but the story just awful.
So, hey guys, did you see the question? And like I said, I'm gonna read it, but I don't necessarily understand it. So, Discovery Bay Comics asked a question. He said, "Sorry, I was out, but if it has not been asked, can we ask his opinion of the Matina copying his work or any work? Has it happened before? Does that make sense to you? I'm not sure.
Well, I can shed a little light on the Matina thing if you want me to.
Okay, go ahead, please.
So recently in the comic book world, it's been, I guess, leaked or released that Matina, who's very known for his different variant covers for both Marvel and DC, that I guess he's been what they call cover swiping, where he's taken previous covers that other artists have done, and then pretty much, I guess you can say, changed it up a little bit to kind of like make it his own or something like that. But you can pretty much tell like the cover is almost identical to like what was previously done before.
And he's not doing it as like a homage thing where like the guy will put like after Todd or whatever down the corner. He's not doing that.
No, I don't think so. I believe that if I'm correct, that it's not like an homage thing or anything like that. So that's.
I think I just saw something on that.
Yeah. It's a big thing right now in the comic book world, and a lot of people are, I guess, up and roar about it because a lot of his covers are beautiful, and especially the most recent like Batman ones. A lot of people have really been enjoying. So I know a lot of people are, I guess, starting to jump off his wagon, so to speak, because they definitely feel like it's a little, disrespectful to the craft of art. So I guess the question is, as well as Discovery said, has that ever happened to you in anything that you've ever done?
That ever happened? It wasn't like somebody in a professional context like that. Although to kind of preface my comments on it, like majority of what I do, other than like the early milestones and things here and there, for the most part, people supply comic book artwork or they do design work. Like a lot of the new Marvel I've been doing for Diamond all comes from very tight concept artwork. So if they rip off like my statue to do a painting of a cover, they're sort of ripping off another dude who drew it.
Well, they're taking a lot out.
So basically, I'm the dude disguised as a dude playing another dude.
Yeah, pretty much. A guy in a dude suit. And so that would be the main difference. But the only thing that's similar to that happened to me a couple of years ago is I I designed a Carnage for Marvel Milestones for Diamond in like 2006 or something like that. And I have all my stuff up on a DeviantArt site. And this guy had somebody sent me a message and said, "Hey man, this cat like totally swiped your sculpture and he's calling it a digital." What he did is he didn't even do that much. What he did is he took the seamless photography that Diamond used as their solicitation photograph, which is no background, just on a white background, and he claimed it was a digital render. So I was like, so I was really nasty about it too, which I'm generally really mellow, but it must have caught me on a really bad day. But I just laid it and I was like, man, I said, you're the lowest form of life with a lot of expletives in between. It was like, you totally just ripped off this statue. All you did is digital records. He's responded as like backpedaling that like, well, you know, I took the background out and I did this and did that. I was like, BS, man. I mean, you just totally lifted it. I have the original photographs they used in previews. Said all you did is take it and you called it a digital render. I think he just expected no one to notice it, but it was literally a photograph of the statue. I mean, even worse than a guy doing an original painting of something else. This guy just took a photograph and put it on his DeviantArt page. So what I did is I made a really nasty stink and I put it as it made a little knit rant, and I notified DeviantArt too, and his page disappeared, and I'm sure it just popped up under another name, but it wasn't in a professional context. It wasn't like another company reused a design or a comic book guy lifted a design for a cover or something. That was the closest. I mean, I fairly lucky way. Although in that backhanded way, maybe somebody lifts your work and puts it on a comic cover, and all of a sudden you kind of become pseudo famous because your work's on a cover.
We lose him?
But I mean, obviously there's a lot of homage covers that people seem to dig it, but you should really give credit if you're going to
absolutely
reuse somebody's idea.
So, Gene, I've been following something that you've been doing for a little bit here. Can you tell us a little bit about what Creature Replica is? I think I said it right, correct?
Yeah. It's basically that's a company that kind of started, I guess, about guys. Jeff Byers contacted me because he's really into cryptozoology, particularly Bigfoot, and he wanted me to do some action figure sculpture for him. And we started kind of collaborating on some figure ideas, and then he brought in two of his other friends, Nick Epley and Craig Deere. So it's kind of a four-person team that's doing this cryptozoology action figure company. And our first line came out about 2.5 years ago, and the main line is Sasquatch, a Yeti, a Rougarou, which is like a Louisiana-based got for Horror Hound magazine and the conventions. And we did a couple of paint variations on each of those. So the basic idea of the company is following kind of cryptozoological ideas and representing them so that they look like real creatures rather than cartoonish kind of incarnations. So the last couple of years has really just been kind of pushing the first line, and we're working towards a Kickstarter for Series 2, which is kind of changed shape a couple of times, which has sort of set us back a little bit time-wise, but and a few different versions of alien greys, some reptilians, Anunnaki, and like kind of the deluxe creature is going to be a Nephilim. So, and it'll tie back into our next series of crypto stuff also. So basically, and the way it's laid out, I mean, I don't know how familiar you guys are from what you see from different companies as they produce figures, you try to, best case scenario, you try to use bits and pieces to create a lot of different figures rather than tooling for each figure. Between 17, 25 grand, something like that. So if you can reuse some legs here and there, like if you look at Marvel Legends, they have like 3 or 4 bodies that they've used for almost everything to repaint. And then they'll add different capes, different bits and pieces and heads and swap out different hands. So what it means for us is that in order to kind of make the most out of that, I'm developing like 3 or 4 lines of creatures all at the same time so that when I go to the factory, we can get a better factory price because we got to be able to do a line of like 5,000 of each figure. So if I can pieces, Mothman, Jersey Devil, Owlman, and something else that uses some of the parts, then I can go in and do maybe just 1,000 pieces of each one of those. You know, so that's kind of the plan right now. Is our next series will be a Kickstarter and probably a couple of months of aliens, and then I have a series of winged creatures like I mentioned, and then a bunch of Bigfoot repaints like sheep squatch and all sorts of oddball stuff, and all the stuff you'd expect like chupacabra and things like that. So
Chupacabra.
I got a question about that though. When it comes to sculpting the action figures like the Marvel Legends and that kind of thing, do you actually get involved in the engineering of how these things are going to be posed, or is all that kind of provided for you and you just sculpt the individual parts?
Well, as far as for what I do a lot of the Marvel Select stuff for Diamond, and obviously all the creature replica stuff, and I've done a lot of DC Collectibles, and when I worked at McFarlane, all of that stuff, I engineer all the parts for the moving bits myself. I have machine work, so I machine all the parts old school. It's like I'm still doing all that stuff traditionally too. I don't do anything digitally yet, so so yeah, I do all of that stuff, and some of it is. Sometimes the company dictates what they want to see. Like they'll tell you if they want double knee joints or whatever, or the type of hip joint they want. So then I have to make those kind of to spec depending on the proportions of the character. But a lot of that's being handled much differently now. A lot of companies, they'll have the digital sculpture done to create the articulation. But there's still a lot of guys doing digital sculpture where they're breaking them down themselves too. I don't know of too many guys still working traditionally that are able to do a lot of articulation. I think most of the guys that were trained like me have either switched to digital or really aren't doing as much anymore.
Have you considered switching to digital at all, or you just like to stick to the traditional period?
Well, I'm on my way. I have all the gear. It's just the biggest stumbling block for me is to work for like the next year and a half.
Hey, do that again. You froze. What did you say the biggest stumbling block was?
Pretty much that it's not that easy for me to pick up. You know, I find the tutorials and things like that aren't that clear, and I'm not really a computer guy anyway. I think people that maybe have more acclimated to maybe digital animation or something, it might be easier because I'm not finding it an easy transition. But the biggest problem for me is time, because I'm doing for like the next year and a half. So that actually prompts another really good question, and you don't have to answer this if you don't want to, which I understand because, you know. So because you do stuff more traditionally, does that mean you command more money when people approach you to do stuff, or do you just go ahead and do it whatever they're offering regardless? Well, mostly what happens now, it used to be a little different, but for the most part, because there's such a glut of sculptors, like a few everybody who was doing it. But since you have access to the internet, you could send files over the internet, and with digital, there's just hundreds of people doing it. So the marketplace is so competitive that people can drop all their prices, and for the most part, you know, whatever they're offering is what you do the job for. You know, I mean, I could say, oh, well, I'm so and so, you got to pay me this much, and they could say, yeah, well, screw off, dude, we'll just grab this guy. Unless they specifically want you for the gig, like for. I don't think it matters all that much to them. And I have certain companies that come to me specifically with something because they know I could do it. But
do you find that now I'm not too familiar with how this works, so just bear with me. So do you actually have to go out and search for this type of work, or do generally people just come to you and say, hey, I need this done?
Again, kind of knock on wood, but I've never really gone out hunting for work. Like from the day that I split from McFarlane, certain companies started calling me, and they all just sort of did their best. In years, I just, you know, people contact me. So I've been super lucky that way. I mean, I guess to a degree, it's like you kind of reap what you roast what you sow. I guess if I did crap work, nobody'd call.
I like what you said, Seth. I would imagine that, and maybe Jeannie, if you can elaborate on it, that when it comes to the work that you do, the companies are more interested in whether or not you can deliver in a certain time period, as opposed to who you are.
Yeah, that's a big part of it too. Bigger with some companies than others. I mean, as far as I think and deliberate, and I'm not going to deliver something half-assed. So for the most part, as you look at it as a positive or a negative, like if people hire you a job, the finished product is going to be exactly what they expect from looking at my portfolio. But, you know, sometimes they might have to wait a little longer for it. But they generally know that going in, though.
In line with what Seth was asking, to go a little bit further about the industry itself. So you've got the young artist that wants to get his foot into this. And kind of like you said, you were music and all of that, and you found that this came natural. But it's oversaturated, like you said. So how would one go about getting their name out there, being seen? Is it social media? Is it a combination of things? How would you recommend them proceeding?
I think probably social media is a big part of it. Like, I would think that if you participate in, say, like Facebook forums on sculpture and painting or whatever it is you do, because I know for a fact that when people are looking for new guys, they're going to surf those areas to find people, you know, and they'll probably look around, look at your page, see what the work looks like, want to make sure that you're not just lifting other people's stuff, and reading social. And the person's constantly griping. Like I know guys in the industry, they go on and all they do is bitch about clients, bitch about this, bitch about that, and in general just sort of make an ass of themselves in public. Like if I go online and I'm looking for a guy to do a gig, they're like the last guy I'm going to pick. So social media is a great tool to kind of sift through the people that are out there, and because sometimes you see awesome work, but the person connected with it is an asshat. So, you know, it gives you that opportunity, but I still think that's probably the best way. But comic shows, seek out people at the booth and see if there's someone floating around that you could talk to personally, because a personal contact is maybe going to get you a little farther, because you meet someone, they remember you from the show, and away at it. Like when I got my first toy gig at the doll studio, I harassed this lady for like 2 weeks till she had me come down and talk to her, you know. And as it worked out, she was like, yeah, her husband said to me, he's like, yeah, she's like, this musician from Connecticut keeps calling me and won't stop. So I think face-to-face contact at a comic show or some sort of convention and then just splatter your stuff all over social media. You know, that's one of the beautiful things about it. You can really pimp your work on social media, and you can have friends now that are like guys that actually draw Batman and guys that run DC and run Diamond and all that. And people are always looking for new guys.
Do you happen to do a lot of conventions? Do you go to a lot of those and do like a lot of signings and have your own booth, or do you just kind of go more as a fan? If you go to any,
Is a fan, but it's usually kind of split. Like when I go out to, I've been going to San Diego for maybe 10 years, and there's generally I generally get asked to do a panel or two, and sometimes Diamond will have, if something I've done for Diamond coincides with a show, like if I've done a few things that were exclusives, then they'll either have you sign stuff ahead of time or sit at the booth for an hour or two and sign some things. So it can kind of be a little bit of everything. But as far as shows, I always go to San Diego, and I always Creature Replica.
Hey, hold on. Say that again. I think you froze up again. I heard you say that you always go to San Diego. Did you say New York as well?
Yeah, New York also, because that's local for me.
Oh, that's right. Absolutely.
Where are you? You're in New York, Gene?
New Jersey. So I'm
Okay.
about an hour and 15 minutes north of the city. So I'm
Okay. Are you gonna be at New York? Are you gonna be at New York this year?
Oh yeah, without a doubt.
Oh, that'd be cool. We'd like to. Yeah, that'd be cool to meet up with you in person if we're there.
Oh sure, man. I'll shoot you my number after this. You're good.
That'd be awesome.
Oh, that'd be cool.
Absolutely, man. New York was amazing this past year.
Yeah, that was a great.
It was pretty awesome.
Yeah, actually. Gene, I got a question for you.
Mm-hmm.
What was the hardest piece you think you ever worked on?
In
The
terms,
Spawn looks pretty complicated.
what's that?
Yeah, it does.
Curse of Spawn looks pretty complicated.
Well, that particular one I didn't do. I didn't do that curse.
You didn't?
No, I did some of the older. I was out of there by the time that particular thing was done. I did like Wings of Redemption, and I did Samurai Spawn. But that statue was done, I think, like the year after I had already split. But what confuses the issue is towards like the last couple of years I was there, they produced a lot of stuff where I was the head sculptor. So basically I was doing a lot of meatball surgery on stuff that a bunch of guys did. Like I'd have a guy doing a guy doing some armor work. We'd gangbang certain projects to get them done. And I'd come in at the end and kind of tweak stuff out, redo a face or this, that, and the other thing, anything that was missing. So I couldn't even kind of touched a bunch of stuff.
Now, to answer my question, which one was the hardest sculpt that you ever did?
Let's see. If I had to pick a couple of things, I mean, recently that cable was a real ball buster. I mean, in looking at it, like there was nothing on there that was simple.
I got a lot of detail into this piece.
But before that thing, when I was working on Warcraft, I did this gnome on what was called a Mechanostrider, this weird looking mechanical ostrich. And Warcraft stuff was pretty complicated, but the organic stuff's not as bad as doing the mechanized looking stuff. But I mean, and then I did a 7-inch Deathstroke for DC that was kind of, I guess maybe it's the new 52 version. That one was a fair pain in the ass. But usually it's the stuff that's hard edged because it means I got to do a lot more work in hard plastics and stuff too. But I'd say, you know, as far as all that stuff, I most complicated. Oh, you know what? I did a staircase for the Munsters line I worked on for Diamond. There was
Monsters line. Okay.
So I had to build this whole staircase that opened up so that you could see Spot underneath there. And I never built it.
It's from me flashbacks.
Yeah, I never built anything like that before. And they were like, "Oh, you know, we want to do this as the thing. Can you do that?" And I was like, "Oh, sure." And I never did it before. So that was probably the toughest thing.
Has there ever been one piece that you feel like, oh shit, I got in over my head on, or are you just you feel like real confident anytime you do anything?
Well, that staircase was one of them, but generally speaking, there's a lot of stuff I learned just because I had to learn it for a job. You know, for whatever reason, like when someone gives me a project and they describe it to me and show me the drawing, I can kind of visualize it exploded, like how I'm going to make all the parts. So initially, I may get into something like that and regret it almost immediately. Like, you know, I'm never going to pull this off, or, you know, die. I mean, it's kind of sink or swim. Once you take the gig, you got to kill it, or it might be the end of that relationship. So you figure out a way to do it. So
I have a question from the chat. Bronze Collection is asking Gene if you know the Shiflett brothers.
I know them like through. I'm on their forum on Facebook, and I've talked to them a real little bit in San Diego. I know that they're really big into Bigfoot, like I am. Okay. So we've been meaning to find some time to jam about that stuff. Like I'm including one of my friends, and all those guys are going to be out there. So kind of talked about meeting up so we can at least jam a little bit about Bigfoot. So I do know them, but not real well. I was kind of introduced to them at San Diego. They seem super cool.
Okay, that's good. Okay.
So a lot of when we've interviewed other sculptors, we've asked this question about where they get inspiration from. Are there any sculptors out there that you admire, and you've seen their work and it has inspired you?
Yeah, there's tons of guys because, like, I didn't come into this with any kind of in this stuff. So, you know, I'll see guys like the Shiflett brothers are a good example, or like Sean Nail, some of these different guys. They have a very specific feel for how they do things and how they interpret certain sections of muscles that are just sort of mysterious to me. So what I do is I study their work and then go back to all my anatomy books to try to figure out how the hell they got there. You know, is it something they saw somewheres, or is it their interpretation on, you know, the way muscles lay out in, like, say, a forearm or a back or something? But I've worked with tons of people where they have such a wildly different style than mine, or seemingly a much better grasp on certain aspects of things, that I study what they do to see, like, how I can learn to do it better myself and then put my own spin on it. So it's kind of everybody. I mean, and there's the pat answer too. I mean, I love looking at like Bernini and Michelangelo and things like that, and some of those guys for inspiration, but it's such a different style than what you do for, like, pop and stylized. Even when you're trying to be realistic, you're kind of more hyper realistic. No one's really doing realistic anatomy. It's sort of a comic book version of realism. So yeah, I mean, I've always been more influenced by, like, some of the 70s comic artists like Jim Aparo and Gene Colan and stuff like that, because that was the stuff I grew up with. But I see stuff all the time where it'll be, you know, different companies put out different statues and certain guys' work, and there'll just be bits and pieces that grab me. I got to learn everything they do, but it tends to be like little nuggets here and there along the way that kind of grab me, and it's like, wow, how did he do that? I mean, what I'm doing sucks. I have to figure out what the fuck he did there.
So here's another question for you. Have you ever been asked or have you ever wanted to collaborate with another sculptor on another job or anything like that, or on like a particular sculpt?
Yeah, there's generally the way it comes up mostly where it comes about is another guy screws the job up beyond belief, and the licensor gets PO'd, and the company's trying to save it, so they email me to see if I'll be willing to come on board to kind of get them out of the pickle they're in. That tends to be the more negative aspect of it, you know. But I've even been in a couple situations where a company asked me to pull their fat out of the fire, and then the original guy started trashing me on message boards because he didn't cut to stomp off into the ether, and then some other guy's got to step in. You know, the company can't let the job just drop. So that's the negative part. But sometimes a company will say, hey, look, we're going to have this guy rough it out. Will you detail it? Or they might like give me the figure, another guy the base, or vice versa. It kind of depends. I mean, I don't do as much of that now because, I mean, ideally, you like to do the whole gig yourself. So then when you put it up on social media or in your portfolio, you can say, okay, well, I did the big. Because one of the things in the back of my mind is when I was running the department at McFarlane, you'd get in portfolios from guys from like Hasbro and stuff. And you'd see like 3 portfolios all with the same figure on it. And you'd be like, okay, man, I already seen this figure in some other guy's book. What gives? And you're like, oh, well, I did the cape on that one. And then this guy, I did his belt and his head. So in the back of my mind, it's like I do a lot of jam pieces here and there when I have to. And like I said, there's a ton of stuff towards the end of McFarlane. But I don't need just it's bits and pieces when I could put full sculpts in there, you know. So here's the real hard-hitting question. Okay, has anyone ever had to bail you out? No, I take care.
I would hope not. You're a pretty talented guy, so.
Yeah, well, and unless you know, I've seen a couple of things where companies took my work and changed shit after the fact. You know,
does that upset you when you see that happen?
Yeah, in kind of a prima donna sissy way. It's can't help it. You know, you get all, you know, you throw your little hissy fit in private and all that. But you know, it's the reality of the thing. I mean, if push comes to shove and they decide to change it, I mean, as much as you kind of take ownership of the pieces you do, you're doing work for hire. So once you hand them the gig, they own the job, they own the piece, they can do whatever the hell they want with it. They don't necessarily have to give you credit. And that's the reality. So you got to suck it up. You can feel however you want to feel, but they change. But if they decide to bring some other dude at the end in to change the head or revise whatever, that's the way it goes. I mean, it's happened on a few things. You know,
that's cool.
But what I ended up doing too is a couple of the companies that did that, and it became sort of, I was involved with one company that it sort of became like something where they had it out for me because I had worked with some of the guys previously, and they had an axe to grind with me. So when I saw it start to happen, I just stopped working with that company. You know, and I just kind of moved on to other companies.
I mean, I gotta tell you flat out, I'm envious that you get to do that, what you love to do for a living, and you're basically your own boss in a sense, you know, so you don't really have anybody standing over you or anything like that. And again, you get to do what you love. So, you know, and it shows in your work because your work is amazing. So.
Oh, thanks. I mean, there are times when I have my gripes for different reasons. And like I said, there's stuff with licensors, there's different things, sometimes with art directors, but at the end of the day, I got to put it in perspective and look at it exactly the way. I didn't go to study this crap. I just had a knack for it. And I spent a lot of time working at it too. I mean, I don't do anything but sculpt pretty much at this point in my life. But, you know, I mean, every day that I get PO'd about something, I just think about, well, what would you rather be doing? Before I started doing this crap, I worked as a butcher for like 13 years. And that was while I was in music school and doing other stuff like teaching piano lessons. And so when I fell into this, from the time I started working at McFarlane, it's just been a freaking joyride compared to what I could have been doing. You know, I mean,
could have been cutting that beef right now.
What was your favorite piece you've sculpted?
I think one of the coolest things I did Pumpkinhead for Soda. It's like 23 inches tall. I think they pantographed it down to 18 or whatever, but
okay,
because that's like one of my favorite movie monsters, at least like modern movie monsters. So doing that like that big, I think it's probably the biggest thing I've ever sculpted too.
And that's your favorite you ever sculpted? That was your favorite one?
I think that's one of my favorites, but it's like the last few years, like I've been checking off. I remember it from when I was like 1, when that show came on TV. That kind of set the hook for me being obsessed with Batman. So when Diamond picked up that license a few years ago, and I've done like some absurd amount of pieces. Like I've done all the busts and I've done a few statues and like half a dozen banks. I think I've done like 30 pieces or something for that license. So that was a big one too. But if I was going to pick one, I think maybe that Pumpkinhead, because it's such an oddball thing. And you don't get the chance to do that twice in a career, because even that really, I mean, you're not going to get to do Pumpkinhead more than once in a career.
How many pieces were released on that piece?
I'm not sure. It was rotocast, so I would have to guess they probably would have had to have done like 2,000 or 3,000 minimum, I would expect.
Okay.
Curious, man. With a traditional sculpt, how do you get the sculpt to the manufacturer, or do you do the whole casting and everything for the first prototype?
Well, for the last 10 years or so, do it all. I can see my face is freezing there. Yeah. What I send to the factory is some resin castings, so the clay never has to leave my hands. Occasionally, I'll do. I've done some work. I did a couple of jobs for Sideshow and some jobs for Gentle Giant. They handle all the molding and casting themselves, so then I ship them the clay, which is always a little hair-raising, because it's always a little scary when that leaves your hands. If UPS or FedEx trashes it, right, back to the drawing board. But to a living possible. Same with Diamond or any of these other guys, that clay never leaves my hands. And once the resin goes out the door, they trash it, no big deal. I spend another week cleaning up another casting, but at least I don't have to start from scratch, and the client doesn't lose the whole job.
Okay.
Has any company that you've been in contact with or done work with or that you know about, have they ever got a license that you were like, crap, I got to contact them because I want to work on that? Or you just kind of, like you said before, you kind of just pick and choose? Have you actually gone after work?
Well, before I actually started getting to do DC work, I wanted to do more of that stuff right after I was at McFarlane. And then, at the same time I was hooking in with Diamond, shortly after that, I hooked in with DC. So I got to do some of that stuff. But the only other thing was like Planet of the Apes. I think I contacted Jerry Macaluso when he still was running PCS when they got the Planet of the Apes license. that ergo on the horse. So I talked to him about it, but I think right after that, we never really went beyond kind of the initial discussion. And then they really didn't do anything else with it. And eventually he ended up selling the company. So that was one of the very few times I kind of chased the license a little bit. You know, because for the most part, working with Diamond, they do a pretty broad array of licenses. So I always kind of figure sooner or later they're going to get all this stuff I want. And there's certain things that I constantly need them about. You got to do. Eventually, if they get it, they'll be like, give it to him. He won't stop asking us about it.
That's what I do to George. I hound George until he gives me what I want.
Yeah.
That's exactly what happens.
I can relate.
Well, any more questions, guys?
No, I think I'm good. I know Gene's been awesome, and I mean, it's amazing that, you know, I appreciate you answering a lot of those questions, because I know some of them, you know, I know sometimes when we interview people, it's kind of hard to kind of feel out like what you want to ask them, but like, you know, you're really open with everything, and we really appreciate that. So thank you.
Oh, it's no problem. I mean, for the most part, I mean, you can't really get into like specific numbers and stuff, because a lot of times, you know, you don't know whether you're getting paid more or less than someone in the same company, and you try to avoid stuff that's going to cause problems for your client. You know, I mean, you wouldn't go out and bash a specific company. You wouldn't go out and bash a specific licensor, or at least you try to. You know, if you're drunk interviewing, God only knows.
Well, we're not drunk interviewing, but clearly you haven't watched enough of these shows, because I basically just bash a bunch of things.
And if I was, but for the most part, I mean, nothing really is off the table. If something gets uncomfortable, you just sort of you got to shut some of those down. But for the most part, you know.
All right.
I appreciate the opportunity. I mean, I love talking about this stuff, and coming on your show helps me too. You know, gets my work in front of maybe some people that have never seen it, or just never attached my name to it. You know.
No, Gene, but you did an outstanding job on this Cable Deadpool. I can't wait to see the Hobgoblin when I get them in. I have them on pre-order. I can't say enough. You do have great talent. Keep it up, man. Keep up the good work, man. I'm happy. I'll keep buying your stuff. Keep doing the good work.
Cool. I appreciate it. I mean, obviously, I've been doing this a long time, so I have a certain amount of confidence in what I do. But it still helps to hear people give me props about it. You know, you always
you did a phenomenal job on these pieces. I'm very happy with them. Trust me, and I collect a lot of statues.
Yeah, I can tell, man.
You think?
Gene, I'll definitely try to track you down one of those 2-packs with Kato and Green Hornet. So,
right on.
If I'm on the lookout. If I find one, I'll pick one up for you and send it out to you. I'm sure George can get me in contact. So yeah, if I see one, I'll definitely be more than glad to grab it for you.
Cool. Yeah, message me on Facebook too. I'll drop you my cell number. We can meet up in New York. Because generally speaking, like, I go pretty much to hang out. Once I make my drop to Diamond, give them the stuff that they're expecting for that show. And I usually, last couple of years, they've been doing a panel and a signing kind of thing. But other than that, I'm just kind of floating around, meeting whoever's around anyway. So it's
that would be cool, man. We'd love to meet up with you and chat with you for a few minutes.
Do all you guys try to get out there to New York, or?
Yes.
Yeah, short answer is yes.
Yeah.
We all plan to be in New York this year.
Yes.
We're gonna make a video for my first trip to New York.
Sets as well.
Yes.
Yeah.
Everybody, John. I think everybody can make it this year.
I'm gonna try our best to anyway.
Oh, very cool.
All right. So, is there any more questions from the chats, or Calvin? You got anything else?
No, man. I'm just, like I said, huge fan, and I'm really honored that you said yes to coming on to the show. So thank you so much. And I'll keep my fingers crossed. Maybe you'll get that chance to do Planet of the Apes, man. It would be amazing.
Or even Green Hornet. I like Green Hornet.
Yeah, Green Hornet. Yeah, Green Hornet's good. Yeah,
I'm holding out for Dr. Zayas.
There's one more question in the chat. You want to answer him before he goes, George. This Xavier's asking, do you collect 1/4 or 1/3 scale statues?
No, I think I have a couple around. Well, let's see. I have a couple of the Women of Marvel things that Sideshow put out. One of them was a sample of who's the blue chick from X-Men? Your name slips my mind.
Mystique.
Mystique.
Yeah. I have a friend of mine, and that thing's really cool. I would have never dropped the money on it because I don't collect stuff that big. And I have a Mohawk Storm that I actually sculpted for them.
Oh,
but
wow. Okay.
I generally don't collect stuff that big for space purposes and expense also. But
you're talking to the wrong group of guys then at this point. You can clearly look at Junior, the background that Junior's got. I mean, that right there sums it all up.
Instead of like a couple. I guess it's the same thing, just in smaller increments.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Well, Gene, thank you again for taking time out after dinner to join us. And I'm hoping we do it again. We hook up at San Diego, get to do some videos together and that type of thing. We get to interview you live in front of the Diamond Select booth with some new figures out this coming year.
Yeah, absolutely, man. I'm always up for it. If you guys ever want to just talk about something new I've done, or for whatever reason, or you just want one more guy throwing his unsolicited opinions.
You're always welcome.
Always welcome, man. Well, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. I know this whole panel is just giddy about it, so thank you, sir.
Yeah, it was great meeting the guy who sculpted these.
Yeah, great meeting you guys too, and I'll look forward to seeing you guys in person at some point, whether it's New York or San Diego or wherever.
All right.
Definitely.
Cool.
Look forward to that.
Thanks, Gene.
Thank you, Gene.
Thanks, Gene.
Take
Take care. Man, that was fun.
I know.
Yeah, man.
Good first
Awesome.
interview of 2019. That was dope.
Awesome.
Definitely.
I'm sorry I'm eating at the same time doing the show, but I'm sorry.
Man,
What is that? An empanada? What is that? An empanada?
Pepperoni pizza, but extra sweet.
It's like the Spanish Flash, bro. He's always hungry.
Spanish Flash. And here we
Flash.
go. Let the comments start flying.
Now we're good. Now we're back to normal.
Now we're MCE after hours.
Well,
Calvin, I want to apologize. I didn't mean to blurt out that laugh, dude. I'm sorry, but that shit was funny as hell.
What?
About the
When he
spawn.
was like, when you had the spawn on your thing, and he's like, "Oh, I didn't sculpt that."
Oh yeah, I actually thought that he did, because I was doing some research when I was looking up that, and his name was attached to it quite a few times, so that's where I got it from. So I actually thought he did do it, and I knew that he'd worked with McFarlane, and I knew he'd done Redemption Spawn and Medusa, so it just made sense that he'd probably been involved in it because around the same time. But yeah, that happens in journalism, man. You have to you make mistakes and you correct them. So that was not his work.
I know. So when you made the mistake of Mexicans last Monday.
Hey.
Oh, hey, look, I already told you. Redemption
episode
starts next week.
I thought we were past that already.
I'll give you guys a preview of next week.
Yeah.
This is my new shirt.
There you go. That's what I wanted to see. That's what I wanted to see.
Next week. That's just the preview.
That's what I wanted to see.
There you go.
So before we get to display and Chad, man, I didn't hear much from you, buddy. What's up with that comic on your table over there, bro? I like the new setup as well, man. Those images in the back are dope.
I appreciate it. I have to try to get on the par and the level of all of you guys. I mean, I know Seth hasn't working with too much, but he's got all the pops behind him, and that still looks cool. So, but thank you. What is cool though, the two pieces behind me, they're Alex Ross pieces, and I love Alex Ross. So,
Jeez, I wonder if someone knows which one I like.
yeah, I can imagine which one. I can only imagine. So,
Captain Puerto Rico's not here with us. I'm feeling kind of lonely tonight.
are you? Oh, I'm a big Cap fan, so that's why I got that one. You know, so
Hey, I thought that Eric is joining us a little bit later, George.
Eric said he had some issues, so he's not gonna be able to make it.
Man, I swear.
Yeah.
Yeah, but This comic I have here is Detective Comics 880, and this is a iconic jock cover. And I was lucky. Well, my brother actually got this signed at MegaCon last year, and a shout out to my brother because he was in the chat. So, but it's a awesome, beautiful looking cover. It's posters have been done on it and stuff like that, T-shirts, and it's probably one of my favorites in the collection. So I had all the Marvel stuff going on back here, and I figured I'd get something DC out, so I displayed that.
So, chat, somebody's saying it's a lot better than that mic between your legs last week.
Oh yeah, I guess the more shows I'm doing, the better hang of this I'm getting. Yeah,
I went back and looked at that, man. It looked pretty interesting.
It was pretty funny, right?
It was pretty funny. So
yeah, but I got some more comics later if we can get to them. I got
Hey, Chad, I got something for you. Check this calendar out.
All right.
This is the old school comics. I got the Justice League of America number 31. It was November 1964.
Phew.
All right, you know about those?
I mean, that's definitely Golden Age. So I'm not highly knowledgeable. But
don't freaking ask me no questions because I don't know either.
You're not from the Golden Age?
No, I knew it was coming. So I had to say something first.
Good job. No, way to get ahead of that bus.
Exactly. I know it, man. I know.
I mean, I don't know too much about Golden Age, but the thing about Golden Age, man, those comics are very scarce. So when you come across, Golden Age books, they, even books that have no, I guess, first appearances or keys, you can say, they still, are pretty pricey, man. Because during that time, man, paper was scarce. We're in the World War and stuff like that.
Yeah, it was 10 cents a comic. I remember it was Action Comic number 42, released November of 1941. It was only 10 cents for that comic.
Yeah, man.
I would be afraid to touch something 50 years old because it's probably really brittle and delicate. So
yeah.
I mean, that's why those grails
Seth is the biggest ass I know.
I know he is. He is such an ass.
The biggest ass I know.
Such a big fucking ass.
And he said that shit. He said that shit with such a straight face, throwing all kinds of shit.
And I'm sitting there and I know exactly what the fuck he's saying.
Exactly.
I was just bringing this up because I wanted to see if Roy was in the chat, but maybe he went to sleep. Where are you, Roy? Because you're the oldest guy here reading comics.
Yeah, man.
Roy went to bed a while ago.
I know.
Calvin, we need to link up. I'm gonna make a connecting flight when we go to New York and make sure Seth is on so that you can jump on the flight. We'll fuck with him on the way to
the entire time. The entire time.
This is motion sickness ass.
I don't get motion sickness. I just hate to fly.
You get motion sickness, dude. Stop lying.
But New York's not that bad.
My man can't even get on a little child school ride. So this is gonna be fun to see him on an airplane.
He's probably gonna end up driving.
No.
Yeah, I imagine he would. He gets sick if you put him on a swing.
Listen, don't make fun of my debilitating disease. It's not making fun of people with diseases, okay?
Oh,
and this is
okay to make fun of people with ticks. Yeah, I know.
Well, it's okay to make fun of people of old age. I mean, don't worry, you'll be there one day too, George.
I know you want to make fun of the elderly, but it's okay. Don't worry about it.
Charles Carosa's in the house. What's up, my brother?
Yes, he is. Who else has joined us since we started? We haven't done any shout outs at all.
Thanks, buddy. Appreciate the thank you. He congratulated me for getting the Gamorrean guard. That was like the best highlight of last week.
Yeah.
Edwin,
did you get it shipping? What are you getting it?
I think it's shipped out today. I gotta contact my boy and see what the tracking number is. So it should be like this week or next week.
Can't wait to see the review on that, baby.
Got a lot to review. Got Venom coming in. That's gonna be something else.
Edwin is saying you're gonna have to drug me like B.A. Baracus.
Yes, I kind of believe that.
Hey, I'm with you, Ed. Who was it? Captain Ramus?
Where's Morgan? Right over here.
Oh, okay.
I moved my collection around because
I was gonna say that earlier. I noticed she was gone instantly too, so I was like, he hadn't given her to me, so.
Yeah, she's over here next to. I moved some things around because I wanted to show off my Star Wars. I got the Darth Maul, and then once the Gamorrean guard comes in, I'm gonna try to find a way to put them either all here or they're gonna go all across this line. So
He wants to.
George,
He
just
wants to
tell
play with his
Carmen the
mythos.
truth. Tell Carmen the truth. You saw me, Morgan. She's over here in my house. Just tell her.
He will not tell you Morgan. That's not going to
Just
happen.
tell him the truth.
Hey, I allowed you to have Storm. You cannot have Morgan too.
He's already here. She's in the back. She's in my other room.
Yeah, right.
I'm serious. I bought her already.
That's your Marvel room. She's not Marvel.
Messing with you, Cal.
Master P saying the Star Wars stuff is taking over the collection, as it should, bro.
And I can't wait till we do a Star Wars show, George. You and me have to make that happen.
Love my Star Wars stuff.
I love Star Wars. I've noticed no one else on the show is not that
I got
high on it.
I got 4 more payments, and I should have the rest of the Millennium Falcon. That's going to be a hell of a project to put together. I'll be honest though, as far as more Star Wars pieces go after the Falcon and the Gamorrean Guard, I'm probably gonna slow down with them and then keep up with like Batman and a couple other Marvel pieces. Because really, all I really wanted was the Mythos line.
Hey, Barbara, I just wanted to say to you, I got those 2 busts that I won on the auction. They came in, they were perfect. They looked awesome, and I'm gonna actually do a mini review of each of the busts that I got in.
Captain Rainbow says, now you can look at her more. I know, man. I don't have to like turn and break my neck. She's like right there. And she's in front of me. And what's cool too is it's like right in front of my television. So when I'm playing video games, I'm like talking to the phone like I'm talking to him. When I'm playing my video games, she's right in front of me. So yeah, it's cool.
So what's on the agenda for the rest of the night?
We still got Display or Nay. Before we get into Display or Nay, did you guys check out the well, they didn't show much, but the teaser for Game of Thrones came out
today? Yeah, actually right before.
Yes, I actually watched it yesterday. I watched it yesterday.
I can tell you one person who didn't watch it.
We don't care what you think.
Okay.
That's why I didn't ask you.
You're too late.
Yeah. We don't care about George R.R. Martin.
Well, I finally got to see Aquaman, so.
Oh,
what
you think?
I haven't seen it.
Awesome.
I give it two flippers up.
And then the review that I'm doing, I didn't even do any spoilers, so you can still see it there, JR.
Okay. Yeah, I haven't seen it yet. You might as well talk about it because I'm not seeing that movie till it comes out on Blu-ray or 4K.
I'm not going to spoil it for you, but it is definitely worth seeing. Visually, it's a visually stunning movie. I was entertained the entire time. The story was engaging. Yeah, I liked it. I liked it a lot. DC did a really great job. I think that and Wonder Woman are definitely their 2 best movies.
Yeah, because Wonder Woman was my best from DC.
I'm surprised you say that, Calvin, because I've heard from other people, like mixed reviews.
I think you have to be a super fan, I guess, to not like it because you're looking for things that a casual person that isn't as into the Aquaman mythos would probably enjoy it. And the people that I went to see it weren't great comic book people, and they absolutely loved it. But I've heard from diehard comic book fans that they're pretty critical when it comes to these movies.
And that's
you would never make a movie exactly. You can never make a movie exactly as a comic book.
And that's something that it took me time to understand. And you almost have to look at these movies as their own comic books.
Yes,
right.
Correct.
Their own little
correct
universe.
And if you can go into the movie with that in mind, it's definitely easier to watch, because, you can look at Civil War. Like I read Civil War, numerous times, and that was nothing like Civil War, the comic book. So,
Right. With this one, I thought they casted a perfect guy as Aquaman. I think he owned the role. He did a great job. I think he has a long future in that franchise because he definitely walked into that role. They could probably replace a couple of other characters along the way, but he did a great job.
Yeah, I agree. I think for me, I think Mara stole the show.
Yeah,
for me, she stole the show. So
I love Mara.
And their chemistry together on screen was really good.
It was, man. And I'm not necessarily a huge fan of that actress, but I liked her in this movie.
Yeah, their chemistry is really good on screen, and he plays off of her really well. And the way that he's this badass guy, and then she checks him all the time, and he's just like, "Damn!" It's really awesome.
She's hot.
Oh, for sure. Well, the first time we saw her in Justice League, I was like, "Whew!"
Yeah, me too.
So
Me too. I
I'll
was
make
like,
sure. I'll make sure my girlfriend does. My wife doesn't see the replay on this.
So since we're on the subject of DC, I did pick up something really cool yesterday that I.
Let me guess. Is it a pop?
What the hell, bro? But I do want to show. I do want to show this off because this is a Grail. This is a Grail piece, so it was actually really cool. I got it at Uncle Fig's Park and Swap yesterday. It is the metallic Joker Chase.
Oh, nice.
It's actually pretty cool. It goes with
I get the Joker cover out. Look at this.
Yeah. No, this is cool. I'm only missing three more chases right now, but they're the three most expensive ones. So
cool.
There's the Green Lantern one that's like $600, and then there's the Penguin and the Riddler ones, which are both over like $1,000 a piece. So
true.
Hey, Jason, welcome to the chat, man. I haven't seen you in the chat in a while,
Jason,
so welcome back.
Yeah, man.
Right,
Shout out to Frank the Tank. He just joined.
Hey,
Frank the Tank.
Charles, the Falcon that I'm getting is the D'Agostini Falcon, that model that you put together. It's huge. So that's what he asked.
Edwin's asking, is it chrome? No, it's not chrome, Edwin. It's metallic.
Can I ask you guys?
It's close.
Chrome, metallic, it's shiny.
I like metallic. Metallic is better than chrome in my opinion.
I finally watched.
They actually color it as opposed to just making it all one color.
That's the reason why I like the metallic, is that it has a little bit more vibrance to it. I can't deal with that chrome. It's just.
I finally watched Quiet Place. Did anybody see that?
Yeah. Last year?
No, I watched it. I actually watched it yesterday. I finally got to watch that.
Did you like it?
Huh?
Did you like it?
That's what I'm asking for you guys. I kind of did, man.
I didn't see it.
I didn't see it. George, I actually liked it. I actually, you know why I liked it? Because who produced it was the actor in it.
Yeah, I know.
And I like the fact that and that was also his wife.
Emily Blunt.
Yeah, that's his wife in real life. Yep. I actually liked it, to be honest with you. It had its intense moments, a lot of intense moments when they got into it. Watch it. This is a pretty good movie to watch.
For anybody that has kids, to find A Quiet Place, you know as sure as shit that'll never happen.
Yeah, I mean, somebody said it was way better than Bird Box, which is true from what I understand. But I don't know. Quiet Place was great until the very end. I'm like, you could have did this shit from the beginning.
The funny thing is about all that is that the Bird Box was actually written before A Quiet Place came out, and A Quiet Place got its idea from the Bird Box. So it's kind of like, yeah. And then people are saying that the Bird Box is copying Quiet Place. So I find that all to be kind of funny.
I agree with Infamous over here. In the chat.
Why did you like the ending, Calvin?
Yeah.
Why did you like the ending?
No, I'm just saying, the way that it ended and they took care of these people, I'm like, that could have happened way in the middle of the movie.
Why? If they didn't even know how. So how? I'm not a spoiler for George, but how can you
anyway?
Yeah,
I'm just saying, it was an okay. That reminded me of the Blair Witch Project. It's a one-time watch movie that can never have the same effect.
You think that was like the Blair Witch Project? No way. Not
it's
even
one of those
close.
movies where you get drawn into it because you've never seen it before, but then you kind of, I don't know. That's just how I saw it.
Okay,
it
yeah.
was great.
But don't compare it to the Blair Witch Project. That's not a comparison.
Yeah, that movie scared me the first time because I thought it was real. Speak for yourself there, buddy.
I remember when I had my first beer.
No. Right, before we get into Displayer Nate, one more thing that I heard last week. So did you hear that the the Academy Awards are looking to have the cast of the Avengers host the Academy Awards?
No, I haven't heard
that.
That'd be awesome. What is it? Kevin Hart, right?
Well, yeah, but the thing that I find ridiculous about it is that the Avengers movies and movies like that would never win an Academy Award. So why the fuck would you want them to be hosting it just so you can get ratings?
Yeah, didn't Black Panther get stiffed at the Golden Globes or something?
I don't know. I think they got nominated for quite a few things. I know they've won quite at the I think it's the Actors Guild Award or something that they got a lot of awards there. But George, they will get nominated. They get nominated in other areas like special effects and all that kind of stuff, sound editing.
But they won't win is the thing. What wins?
No, I mean they're up against other movies just like that though. They're not up against
movies.
All right,
that's what wins at the Academy Awards. I don't know.
Yeah,
I just find it to be.
I'm on a mission right now. I'm trying to watch every movie that's being nominated this year. I want to be educated.
I've tried doing that. I've always been disappointed every time I do it.
Yeah.
Hey, George, did you get to watch Mission Impossible?
Yes, I didn't like Mission Impossible that much.
The last one?
And I heard that was
sorry, not the Academy Awards. I think the
Oscars.
Oscars is what I'm thinking about.
No, the last one from Tom Cruise. You didn't like it?
Nah, it was very much like any other Mission Impossible movie that I've seen, so I didn't really find it to be like that over the top. And then the thing that bugged me about the movie was that at the beginning of the movie, when they're having their, the music playing and everything, they show you all the scenes of the movies in clips right there. So it's
Frank the Tank, I agree with you, man. If they want ratings, they would get the cast of Crazy Rich Asians, which was a great movie, or Black Panther. But I love that movie, Crazy Rich Asians.
And what about Equalizer 2, George?
I haven't seen Equalizer 2. I've been wanting to, but I haven't had a chance to check it out.
I know you have it. That's why I asked.
The first one was the shit.
Yeah, part 2 was the shit, too.
My wife made me watch Venom again, and I wanted to gouge my eyes.
Your wife made you watch Venom?
She wanted to watch... I didn't like Venom, dude.
No, to tell me why she wanted to watch it.
I like Venom.
She wanted to watch Venom is because she likes Tom Hardy. So, and I like Tom Hardy, but I was like, all right, and it's my wife. I'll sit there and watch the movie again. I thought the movie was So,
I give that movie a 7 from 1 to 10. What do you rate it at, George?
The first time I saw it, I was saying 7. But then the second time I saw it, I'm give that like a 5.
Well, no, I don't know. I watched it again. I watched it with my son because my son didn't get to see it, and I actually enjoyed it.
I watched. What did I watch Saturday? I watched Super Troopers 2 Saturday night.
I watched that too. I actually watched that too. That was pretty.
Did you guys see that there's a Goosebumps 2 coming out?
Yeah, I did see that.
Yeah,
I did see that.
I like Julio. I like Julio's comment. And the nominees for Best Tree Actor: Groot, Treebeard, and Whomping Willow.
All right, you guys want to do some display or nay?
Let's do it.
Oh, my favorite. Who's gonna get trashed tonight?
So before we do display or nay, I just wanted to let you guys know a couple things. Number one, anything in here that is not obviously Sideshow or something like that is a digitally sculpted piece. We don't know if it's being produced. We're not condoning that it's being produced. So if you guys are confused about that, it's just art.
So let me translate that.
No. It's not just art. It's fan art.
All right. Translate. Let me be clear. Voice of reason here. We do not condone or promote anything. We're just admiring the art. That's it.
All right.
It is like a poster. It is like a poster on your wall.
That's all it is. That's all it is.
So not a message or ask any questions about it.
Yes.
No.
So don't ask if it's fan art, Seth.
All right, don't ask. Don't call me when the show is over.
When you know if that piece is being produced?
Seth, you're such a butt.
All right, guys, ready?
Let's do this.
All right, let's do this. Boom. Michael.
Yes, display. I ordered this.
I ordered this thing, bro. This thing is
display. Display.
There were people fighting outside of a Foot Locker over that pop.
Yes, I displayed it.
And it is so stupid because it's a common pop. It's not an exclusive. Everybody's taking pre-orders on it.
I ordered it.
Do you understand that people line up for days for shoes by Jordan? So of course they're going to go crazy.
Shoes are different. But because Jordan shoes are different because those legitimately come in limited quantity.
Why are you hating? We're supporting Pops now.
Yeah, man. I'm saying.
Listen,
I'm saying, man. I'm happy.
Hear me out.
I'm trying.
Okay. So this is a common pop. You can get this pop at any store that has it available for order or that's going to carry it. Foot Locker was the first one to get it. So the Foot Locker stores that had it, people lined up, they waited for it, and the people that went out there are people who are resellers.
Hey, Edwin Diaz says display the shit out of it, even if it's chrome.
Exactly.
Actually, if they made a bronze or a chrome of this one, I might pick it up. Yeah,
exactly. Right?
So there were these two guys outside of a Foot Locker sitting there fighting with each other because of who cut who in line, and the one dude is sitting there saying, "Bro, everybody's gonna get one. There's enough for everyone. Why are you freaking out?" It almost turned into a fist fight.
Because these guys collect shoes, not pop.
Frank the Tank actually put the link to the video in the chat. So
And Dia said is in fan art. But so you guys can know, it's still available on. We don't get paid. We're not promoting them. We're just saying you can get it if you don't want to fight for it on Big Bad Toy Stores. It's up for regular price.
All right, cool.
So hey, maybe they'll give us a
sponsorship. Actually, I'll put a link in the description if you guys are watching this afterwards. I have a link in our group I had to put that one in Marvelous Statues because this shit is dope.
So nobody, hey, is this display or what? In the chat.
Yeah, there was all
it's like this one dude said in the chat, Jordan is up there with Jesus, man. I'd put that thing on. That's my boy, bro. Love Jordan.
Yeah, that is a total display.
All right, and I want to get the other one too in the classic jersey. All right, so next one. Boom.
Wow.
Yes. Display.
Do we know what the release date is for that?
You an ass.
I want to hurt Seth. It's like if tomorrow, Seth, I'm gonna personally punch you. All right.
hey, twice for me. Hit him once for me too.
Just gonna knock you right in that big face of yours. All right. So, do you guys like it?
Yeah,
I actually like it. Display for me.
I like it a lot. Definitely display.
It's different. I love it.
Display.
Yeah, it's cool. I like it, man.
I will put it on my wall as a poster.
I would too, actually. That is kind of cool.
I'll put it in my toy box.
And typically, I can't visualize things without the paint on it. But this one, you can see the potential there.
Yeah. I do got to shout out Barbara in the chat for Jesus Shuttlesworth comment, of course.
Oh, Jesus Shuttlesworth.
Yeah, he got game. Great movie.
Yeah, it is a good movie. All right, moving on. This one for me is a nay.
What the hell is that?
It's Alucard. And we saw this at San Diego, George.
Did we?
Or New York, one of them.
Well, the thing with this one is First for Figures also has one almost identical.
Okay, so that's what I'm thinking, that this was First for Figure.
No, this is Guntaku. This is the same company that made that Batman that Caleb did.
It was. Then this was that. I did see this at Comic-Con. This was there.
Oh, okay.
Is it Castlevania?
Yeah.
No. Yeah?
Yeah, it is.
No, I don't think this is Castlevania.
Looks like it, right?
Yes, it is.
It is? All right.
Yeah.
Yeah, sure. Konami, you're right. This is Castlevania. You're right.
Yeah.
Sorry,
if you guys are into that type of, I guess, shows and those type of things, there is this one comic called Lock and Key that's a lot like Castlevania.
I've heard of it. I haven't read it. I've heard of it.
It's really good. Just throwing it out there. Just check it out.
But George, I like the first four figure one better, though.
I do like the first four figure one better.
And they come with an option to have the cape red inside instead of white as well.
Right.
Yeah, that's definitely not a poster I want to display on my wall.
So most of the chat is saying nay, and somebody wanted to go politically incorrect and say gay. But all right, okay.
All right. Anyway, all right, let's move on. Thanos art print. This is on Sideshow.
No,
that doesn't even look like Santa.
That's a nay for me.
That is a big nay for me.
Nay. I like Thanos, of course, but I do think that it is just becoming a bit much now.
I do like the color scheme, though. You know, as on an artistic side of things, I like that you have that, high heat at the bottom and it's very cool up top. I like the contrast there. I don't really like the way Thanos' face looked. So, yeah.
It looks like Darkseid almost.
Yeah. That was a nay.
That's a nay.
Definitely take that poster and put it in the trash.
Damn, bro. Seth is so harsh.
I'm going to say display because everyone's saying nay.
There you go, Chad. Go ahead.
There you go, Chad. There you go.
The old drum, bro.
You can be harsh and say the things you want to say when you clearly have no soul.
Okay, I'm not arguing with you there, Seth.
So.
All right.
Somebody says, is that Black Bolt?
All right, how about this one, guys? This is Blitzwing.
Oh, that's dope.
From Transformers.
Is that an action figure or a statue?
It's an action figure, or not an action figure, but like
no, it is
collectible
a
figure. It's a posable figure.
Articulation.
Yeah, posable figure. And how do we classify that, right? Because like if I'm saying action figure, I'm thinking G.I. Joe action figures and Star Wars action figures.
But it has articulation.
It has articulation in it, which I agree.
So I will tell you, if you really want.
Would you play? Action means to tell me that I'm going to pose this thing, or not pose it, but I'm going to do some action with this. Would you take a $300 figure and play with it?
Right, George. As far as action figure is concerned, we talked about this some time ago last year. The Toys That Made Us.
Yeah.
On Netflix, they talk a lot about this very subject and how the term action figure came to be with the G.I. Joe line and how it's translated. So if you haven't seen that, it's a great show to check out. The Toys That Made Us.
I've seen it a couple times. I like that.
Who makes this? Who makes this?
It's made. It's not by Sideshow. 3A.
3A. Yeah, because I got pre-ordered their Prime, and I have also Bumblebee.
Hey George, maybe we might want to double check because 3A does distribute through Sideshow.
They do
distribute
through Sideshow, but Sideshow didn't make it. Is what I'm saying.
Okay,
that's what I was asking. Because Megatron's supposed to be coming out, and Sideshow already has it up. He's supposed to be coming out for like 2020.
No.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's a good alternative to Prime 1, because the Prime 1 pieces are usually pretty.
You're getting a lot of names in chat.
Well, they're big. They're big. I think they're 19 inches tall, 18 inches tall.
There's a lot of names for this in the chat, though.
It's a name for me too. I wouldn't.
Yeah.
My brother
Somebody call it a figure statue.
my brother said wrong Transformer.
I actually would.
That's the problem.
I mean, if there was I'll display that. Believe it or not.
All right.
I'll display that. I'll display it. If I could pick up all the ones from the last movie, from Prime, from Transformers, I'll display them all.
I like that dude's comment, bro. If it has a kung fu grip, it's an action figure.
It's like chopping motion.
That's awesome. That's awesome. I love that, man. All right, let's move on.
It's pretty awesome.
Calvin, display your name. Calvin's on the screen. I'll display Calvin. You know what? I'll give Calvin a hug. I'll cuddle with him.
What are you talking about?
I'll give him the love that he needs.
Oh my God.
Seth don't even know what's being displayed on the screen. He just doesn't.
Well, no, Calvin was up on my screen, so I'm saying display. Thought you were doing display your name on Calvin.
Oh my God.
Okay. All right. XM Studio Spider-Man. What do you guys think about that?
It's actually up for order now too. I saw that today. Yeah.
That's the name for me. Buddy.
They've cleaned it up a lot though, because before I think there was a lot going on, and it's a lot simpler now.
I like it, man. I would display this.
Yeah. What do you think about this one versus the one that we saw in San Diego? I mean, in New York.
Okay. So
I like the one in New York better than this one.
I don't, man. I like the fact that he's swinging like that because it's more iconic for me. I don't really the one that Sideshow's making doesn't really appeal to me that much.
Okay.
I mean, but look at the base. I mean, what do you see in the base? Tell me what can you get out of the base? You have an arm coming around.
How's that any different than what Sideshow has? Sideshow has him standing. Sideshow has him standing and squinting and looking like he's gonna take him and shoot his web while Doc Ock's tentacles are going around him. It almost looks like one of the tentacles are going up his butt, so he's like
tentacle butt.
So what's the difference there? I mean, at least in this one, you got him, swinging around the pole.
Yeah,
and I think that they still give you options to switch out the tentacle arms for other villains. So you kind of
look at his arm. Where do you think that arm's going?
Yeah, it's going to grab his nuts.
Where's that arm's going?
Yeah, but it hasn't actually reached up there yet. He doesn't have that swing. And then you also have, and then the other thing I like about this one too is that you have the option for the swap out head with showing Peter Parker's face.
Yeah.
So
for our friends over the pond, I mean, this is a great, I guess, piece because you guys can get it and we can't. So that's awesome.
Okay.
I'm going display because I'm playing Spider-Man right now. So anything Spider-Man display.
Johnny completely agrees with George.
I like Franco's comment. You guys sound like you're talking about hentai.
All right. Here we go. Boom.
Oh yeah, I saw this the other day.
A lot of people.
I wanted this poster. Yeah.
Is that from the gamer? Is that from the Gamerverse?
No. There's a comic for Venapool.
I think it looks great. I like it. I like the just over the top craziness. I like it. I want the poster.
Jesse Hernandez says, quickly, someone make a GIF of George getting tentacle butt.
I like it. I think it's really cool. Great conversation piece. Great take on it, I think, but that's just me.
Yeah, I wouldn't display that.
I like it, man. It's cool.
I like it.
Especially like if you have a bunch of other Deadpools, I think it's fun.
Yeah, I like it.
It looks like he went into like a football locker room and just like doped up on a bunch of roids.
Hey, that too, whatever. Like. I think it's meant to look like.
I agree with him. I agree with him. Saying
real quick, Chad, what's the take on that? There is a comic for Venapool, right?
Well, there's Yeah, I get. There's times where I guess there's this one. There's this one run. I think Deadpool back in black. He's in the black suit. But I'm not sure if he's Venomized.
Isn't it Spider-Verse? The one where not I forget what it was, Venomverse or something, where all of the characters get to become.
Venomverse. Yes.
You mean like the Venomized pops that I have of all the different characters?
Yeah.
Venom. I have a poster with X-23. It's just the Venom.
I think it's a fun looking character.
I think it's a fun looking character. I like it. I love to have the poster.
Well, it's different. It's different.
It's different.
It is different. It is.
It's different. That's what I like about it.
Let's move on. Moving on. All right, man. I know y'all gonna love this one.
Man.
He's so cute.
Oh my god!
Yeah, until it rips your damn head off.
I think Edwin Diaz pre-ordered this, right? Edwin?
His hands aren't long enough.
Dude, it kind of reminds me of that movie. What the hell was that cartoon movie with the?
It was called Meet the Robinsons.
Meet the Robinsons. Yeah.
I've got a big head and small
hands. Yeah. Yeah. You know, I mean, the other characters,
people who are dinosaur fans and Jurassic Park fans, how can you go wrong?
Yeah, it's
simple.
Cute.
It looks like shit.
It looks like shit.
It looks like a freaking T-Rex. What do you mean?
It looks like a T-Rex. It looks nothing like a T-Rex.
It's not my thing, but it looks. I don't know. I guess. Whatever.
It's cute.
That's a statue?
Yeah.
I thought it was a toy.
Yeah. Well, Iron Studios makes some small figures that they have like a cartoon appearance like that. I think it's like meant to compete with like Funko.
You could pick it up at Target for $15.99.
Does the eye light up?
His eyes light up.
No, if there's a button on it, if you squeeze the tail, the mouth opens and it roars.
Speaking of squeezing something, they came out wrong. That came out wrong. Anyway, listen. Yesterday Saturday I had this entire weekend was me taking care of my daughters because my wife was working. You know, she was at an art gallery actually selling some art. So I had like up to here with my daughters and fighting and all the crazy shit. So I was like, taking your asses to Target. You know, you can play with all the toys at Target, and you know we went over there. So they found this Hey from
I know exactly what you
from Moana. You squeeze the neck on this thing,
bro,
and it's like you know, and it was making so much noise. It was funny.
Okay, so I work in retail. You're that guy that bring your kids in and mess up my entire toy aisle, and I have to go back. Like,
that guy.
Really?
I'm that guy. Hey, I appreciate you, Calvin. It's because when I brought my kids home, they knocked the fuck out. It was great.
You're that guy.
That is funny.
All right, let me get back. Let me get back to what we're doing. It's playing there. Okay, so everybody pretty much is a nay for.
Oh yeah, that thing got trashed.
All right. What you guys think of this guy, the Scourge?
Oh yeah, that's Quarter of the Dead. I think it looks pretty cool.
I think it looks cool too.
Yeah, if you're Quarter of the Dead,
are you getting that, Calvin, to go along with your set?
I don't know because there's so many of them. I'm trying to pick and choose, but I just got the graphic novel, the first real story that as an adventure that these characters are in, and it's pretty interesting. But I just love the Quarter of the Dead. I think they did a great job with the figures and the story.
See that doesn't. I'm not trying to put you on the spot or anything, and I'm being real with you right now. But when you guys buy statues and I guess they have sets for those statues. Like, what was it? Like the Captain America and the Black Widow that the sideshow did. I guess, and the Wolverine that was like a companion. They were all companion pieces. The Court of the so you wouldn't want all the Court of the Deads so you can have the full.
No, I've never been the person that has to have a complete set of anything. Just like I just finished the Masters of the Universe. I get the ones that I thought were my favorite, either growing up or whatever, and I'm done. I don't have to have everything in the line.
Is it just because you feel it'll be too expensive at that point, or
it could be that? But then there's just certain characters and certain things that I just like, and this is one of those characters that I'm not sure about.
I'm in agreement with you because they're, like, I mean, with all the pops that I have and all this, like, I agree with you. I buy the ones that I like specific. Now there are a few ones that I have the full set for, but that's not all of them. I have like maybe like out of all the ones I have, I think maybe I have like 5 complete sets, if that.
I have 2 sets of statues, 2 complete sets now.
Well, now you have the Mythos, yeah.
That's what I'm saying. I got 2 complete, so I'm happy with that.
I have 1 set of Pops. Star Wars Rebels. That's
what I'm talking about. Star Wars.
One set. Star Wars Rebel Pops, full set.
And Seth, to your point, I do have 1 complete set of Destiny Pops.
Yo, Julio makes a point on that one though. It reminds him of the old school Dark Crystal movie. That sure as hell does, man.
Yeah, it does. Yeah.
Frank the Tank brought up that it looks a lot like Dark Souls. If anyone's played that video game,
Dark Souls. That's another one. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I was at GameStop today and I saw this huge box, Dark Souls 2, I guess it is, and there's 3 statues inside of that.
Well,
you need one? Let me know. I know someone.
I stopped collecting all the collections and things too. I'm just trying to.
He's trying to collect them all.
Well, I'm trying to use my space selectively for what I have left here. So
you got a lot of space there, bro.
I know I still got a lot of space here, but
listen, you've got two rooms for your statues. How much space could you possibly need?
No, I'm not taking them. No, the space that I have now, I'm trying to be selective with the space that I have now.
This character here, while I wouldn't take and display this probably because I don't have any of the other Court of the Dead pieces, I am very interested in a story about this, whether it be a comic or a movie, or I would like to see a movie made of this.
Yeah, I think they have enough material to make a movie, but Sideshow just released, just this past couple of months, an entire graphic novel, not just the individual comics that talk about the characters and their history, but they actually an actual story and adventure focusing on 3 of the main characters.
Calvin, Tyrell Reed is asking, now that Battle Cat is back up for pre-order, will you be getting it?
George and I talked about that, and I think that Battle Cat would go good with the 5th scale He-Man, but I don't think so. I would like it, but no, I'm just gonna cut it off right now.
You know what made me stop getting it? The size of the cat. Did you see the length? The thing is like
30 inches long.
Yeah,
it's huge. It's huge.
I saw the Orko statue you got in person. I saw it this weekend. Dude, that's a nice looking statue.
It really is. It was one of those statues that Sideshow. I didn't find any mistakes on it. It was really awesome, actually.
Yeah. You did a review on that, right?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah.
Hey, Calvin.
Yeah, man.
Are you doing some bookshelves in there too, putting statues in there too, or what?
No, I hadn't planned to. I'd probably get in trouble, but
Franco's asking. Franco's asking you, Calvin, if it's worth the buy. Franco, can you be a little more specific about which one? Yeah, it says, "Is it good, Calvin? Worth the buy?" I don't know which one he's talking about there.
I don't either. But he'll I'm sure he'll comment in a minute.
Yeah. Okay, so we got.
So how's your space, Calvin, right now?
Wait, we got one more displayer name, man.
We're having conversations between.
All right. Go ahead.
Between the thing. How much space do you have, Calvin?
I got 3 rooms, but I'm not gonna do that. I use this room because I've been in this house for 10 years and have done nothing with these 2 rooms. So I decided to make it my YouTube video room. Do something because it was empty the whole time.
All right, so technically you out of room for statues, or you just don't want to collect anymore?
No, I'm not out of room, but keep in mind, man, how long ago did you start collecting statues?
About going on 2 years.
I started collecting almost 30 years ago.
I know that.
So I've got a lot of shit.
I know that. So do you play them all, or you keep them in boxes?
All of them are displayed. Some stuff is in closets. Over the years, things have gotten much better, detail, sculpts, and things like that. But I think I enjoy more watching you guys' collections and things like that. I just don't feel the need to get everything that comes out anymore. There may be one piece that hasn't been done. So, for example, when XM did Moon Knight, no one's ever done Moon Knight. So that's why I ended up getting that statue. But so many of the other pieces have been done so many times, there's no way that I would collect or try to buy those pieces.
Okay, so then what the space you have now, that's the only thing you want to work with.
Right, exactly.
You don't want
exactly.
Calvin, I think for once I actually agree with you.
Okay, what happened with that Venom bus?
Venom bus, the one that we're gonna trade for the.
You trade me 2, I'll give you the Venom bus.
Oh, we didn't talk about trading 2. We had one on the table.
I know.
We had one on the table, and I got all these witnesses here to back me up.
You're still gonna get a good deal.
Edward Diaz says your Green Goblin statue is taking up too much space.
I need to replace it with something like a Venom bus, right?
Yeah. Hey, Franco was asking about the graphic novel for Court of the Dead. Is it worth picking up?
It's absolutely worth picking up. It's great. The story is fantastic.
Where
It's
can you
great. The
get
writing's great. It's awesome.
You have to buy that at Sideshow, or you can find it at the comic book store?
Sideshow, yes.
You have to buy it directly from Sideshow.
All right,
Sideshow have the hammer out for that? Like they're going to charge you some crazy amount of money for a comic book?
It's no more expensive than most graphic novels. It's $29, I think, $28. And I had $300 in Sideshow points that I've had forever. So that's how I buy those different things.
All right.
All right. Display your name. Let's go.
Display your name. Got
Yeah,
the
right?
one.
I don't
The
have
final
Eric to
one
say
for
that.
display your name. Here we go. What y'all think about Spider-Man?
Hey, you already know I'm playing it. Display.
I will display this too.
I like that one too.
I can't. I need more context.
The suit looks weird.
Hey, you know
I
what?
need
I
more
thought,
context.
you know what I thought of this, George? They should make a suit black.
It is
That'd be kind of
black.
cool.
I want to see him black.
How do you know it's not black? It's in black and white. How do you know it's
I
not?
like the pose. That's the thing.
I suppose, and the costume should be black.
That's definitely not the black costume.
I know.
I mean, it'd be
that's
cool if they
black.
made if it ended up being the black areas.
Yes.
You know,
It-
and then
Hey, dude, I think the X of Moon Knight would be an amazing setup with the Daredevil and Elektra, Punisher, Iron Fist setup. I think that would look great. That would look awesome.
that would look pretty cool. All right, for me, this would be a display. I think
Yeah,
it's
that's a pass. That's a pass.
cool. What if it was Chrome?
It's still be a pass. If I agree, it's still a pass. It's still a pass. If I agree with the yes.
See, what if it was Chrome and the head was abnormally large? Would you buy it then?
There's more claw up the ass with this one, and he's actually in a better position to be breached.
Oh my god!
Oh my god!
The things that go.
Damn.
At least
I think we should move on.
At least he said that it didn't remind him of a vagina. If he came
I
out
need.
with that
We need to move on. That was rough.
Hey, George, where you get that cup, George?
What's up?
Where you getting that cup?
Water.
Liar.
Oh shit, man! Look, it's water. See?
That's what I asked.
Liar.
See, they ain't no alcohol. No alcohol in my cup.
Just because it's clear don't mean it ain't vodka.
Yeah, it's true. Nah, man. I'm on a diet, bro. I haven't been drinking that much anymore.
It's a liquid diet.
I'm not liquid diet. I've been eating well. I've been doing my thing, bro. I don't know if you saw the other day. I made a pretty damn good avocado bowl with the turkey ground meat. That shit was good.
You got me hungry after that.
Medina, Chef Medina.
It was good, man. It was damn good. And then I had a steak later.
Was that the last displayer name?
That was the last displayer name.
All right.
All right, man. So other topics, bro, is because I have yet to finish God of War. And the reason why I have not yet finished God of War is because I'm doing these freaking side quests, man. So what the hell is up with these grinding games anymore, man? Why can't we just have a game that has your normal play style, have a couple side quests, and let me finish the freaking game, not chase down birds?
Well, you're getting your money's worth.
Yeah, man, because you're playing single player games, and
You're getting your money's worth, man.
most of the market now is definitely multiplayer online, right? So when you're talking about, for instance, God of War, Spider-Man, you need those side missions, because if not, you'll beat the game in what?
Nah,
10,
dude. No,
12 hours.
I'm saying make your side quest meaningful is what I'm saying. Why can't you have a side quest that relates something to the story, that is meaningful? Why am I chasing down pigeons with Spider-Man?
So is it the side quest or is it the grind? Because to give pushback on Chad, even if you're online, like I'm a big Destiny fan, the grind is brutal in Destiny sometimes to be able to level up.
Frank the Tank is big into Destiny, so.
Yo, but dude, I mean, God of War, like, for you to get your armor up on God of War and everything, you have to play the Muspelheim realm, which is this, I think it's a mist realm, and then there's a Niflheim, which is like flame, or like it's a fire realm, right?
Bless you.
You had, for the mist realm, it's about a 2-day grind, pretty much, if you do it straight.
So, George, do you think this would be more helpful for the grind? Because Destiny tries to do different things to make it more palpable. But, like, for example, each of the seasons, I guess they call in Destiny, if you do everything, like on the back of this shirt is all of the activities that you needed to do. And if you complete all of those activities, they send you a code where you can actually buy a shirt that you can only get because you completed the grind. Would it be worth it if there was some type of tangible thing at the end?
They let you buy the shirt?
Yeah, but the thing about it is, but this is the deal. Anybody can buy the shirt. The shirt's $1 million, literally. They give it to charity, but if you finish the game, they let you buy it for like, I don't know, $19.99 or $29.99. But it's a T-shirt.
But you're proud to wear it, you know, because
right. Well, and not only that, when you get it, you get to customize it with your gamer tag on the sleeve and everything, and they send it to you.
That's pretty dope, actually. That I might do then. You know, it's like doing the whole 24 hours of Disney. You can get a shirt at that point if you finish the whole 24 hours. But
you paid for Disney. Trust me, it wasn't cheap to get in that park.
Let me tell you, I'm glad the fact that I had the games for longer when you do one-player games, and I'm glad I'm getting my money's worth because I used to go through those games like water.
I don't know, man. I mean, I remember playing Ninja Gaiden on Nintendo, and that was a long as hell game to play. That was hard too. Even the one that was on PlayStation 2 was a pretty difficult game. And
but believe it or not, when I go back to those games, they're actually harder than the games that we have now.
They are harder than the games that we have now. But
yeah, they are.
I just feel that I'm okay with side quests if the side quest is relatable to the main quest in some kind of way. You know, chasing down pigeons with Spider-Man does not make sense to me. You know,
Frank is talking about Destiny right now, so I got to get back in this. He said it's not about the shirt, it's about the loot. I would agree with that. I totally would agree with that, but one of the things that pisses me off about the grind is that every time we go through a season, all of the grinding and all of the loot becomes irrelevant most of the time, and that pisses me off. So I just keep the shirt.
So why did you like getting the pigeons, George?
Because that shit was boring, man.
For sure, but you can't see Spider-Man, for instance, helping out somebody by finding
the pigeons. Yeah.
I mean, I can envision reading a comic and seeing, of course it'd be a filler issue, but I could totally see something like that happening to Spider-Man.
It'll be $5 well spent.
Yeah, $3.99
chasing down $3.99 chasing down pigeons. I don't know.
Hey, Jack, by the way, man, great video, man, on that comic book store you went to. Checked out those comic books, man.
Appreciate it. Yeah. Well, we'll have another one this week. Not to worry. And your video was awesome too, man. Your first video, man. You finally got that up. I know.
My first one, nerf wrecking, but I had George to help me out through it, so that was good.
That's why I love Borderlands, because I'm a massive. I actually like Borderlands. Borderlands was fun.
I love Borderlands.
That shit was a lot of fun. My brother and I used to play that, especially the first one and the second one. My brother and I used to play that a lot.
I only played it with George and his brother once.
I never played Borderlands at all. So, hey, I got a question for Frank the Tank. Frank, are you planning to play Anthem when it comes out next month?
For sure. Yes. I can answer that for you.
Yes.
Oh, you can answer that for me?
But Frank's a good friend of mine. We can have him on the show one time if you want. But
awesome. I'm planning to put Destiny down for a while, man, because that game just looks amazing. And then leading up to it, there's a couple. I pre-ordered it like a lot of people, and for those who pre-ordered it, there's a couple of beta gameplays that you can do a few weeks before the game come out.
Yeah, I gotta play Anthem also. I want to see what that's like.
Chad, are you guys playing on PS4 or computer?
Well, Frank plays on PS4. Unfortunately, I don't have enough time to play Destiny. That's a game that the grind is real, and I don't have. Unfortunately, my time is too spread out, and I cannot put enough time into Destiny.
I'm assuming Infamous 3722 said that Anthem is hot garbage because you played the alpha and you didn't like it, or how do you know that? I'm just curious.
Yeah, I mean, Destiny's too much of a hardcore. I beat every single till they got to the last one. I think just you grind for 6-7 hours trying to get a piece to upgrade yourself, and you don't find crap.
Yeah,
I got tired of that.
It got annoying to me with the first game when you kept playing the same mission over and over and over and over and over. That was
just to get one piece of armor.
That's an MMO, trait.
Yeah, I mean, I played Diablo. I'm big into Diablo, so I know what that's like.
Yeah, there's another one I played, Diablo.
I've never played Diablo.
But it's a good story.
Yeah,
Diablo's
but it's
a
also
really good story.
once it's a game though that's very short, and once you beat it, it's all about loot, and you have to go back and replay those dungeons and certain acts and whatnot.
What I like about that one, well, I guess same thing can be said about Destiny, is when you play with a group, it's actually kind of fun.
Yeah, when you play,
of course.
You need a group automatically to do your raids. Without a group to do your raids, you're not going to be able to do.
Yeah,
I think that was one of the big things about Destiny in the first place, was trying to find a group of people to play with.
that was hard. Yeah, with Diablo, you have this thing of like these hordes of monsters coming around you to the point that you can't even see your character sometimes, and it's cool actually. I really enjoyed it. Blizzard does pretty good work.
And if you have the right gear, you don't need anyone. That's the cool
No,
thing
you
about
don't.
Diablo,
You don't, bro. I would go in there as the barbarian. I would whipping people up. It was great. That was actually a lot of fun.
We can all agree any game with your friends playing online is just 10 times.
It's fun.
Yes,
right?
it is more fun.
I think that's what makes Destiny as good as it is, because you get to play with people that you like hanging out with. Because the game itself, if you play by yourself, I can see it gets a little bit.
Yeah, it can get a little boring probably after a while.
Anybody here likes to play Black Ops?
Barbara said all her time goes to dusting statues.
No Black Ops people here? No Black Ops in the chat? No Modern Warfare 3, Modern Warfare 2? Anybody?
I'm sure there's some people
I used to play COD quite a bit, but then I stopped.
I was number 26 in the world in headquarters for Modern Warfare 3.
You must have been a camper.
Not me. Headquarters. Can't camp at headquarters. You got to get that objective and stay in there too.
Ed Dude says all mobile games are the bane of gaming.
Yeah, hey, George, when are you gonna do this tour with Barbara? She says she spends all her free time dusting statues, so I can't wait to see
these statues.
I was supposed to go there this Saturday, but her husband is working, so I wanted to meet him as well. So we're trying to plan that out. Hopefully, I'll get it before we head out to Japan. So. By the way, that's happening, guys. We're going to be heading out to Winter Wonder Festival.
Can't wait to see that feedback on that. It's
going to be dope.
I'm excited to see that.
Me and my brother from another man, Calvin.
Yeah, what up? You think you can survive this 15-hour flight, man?
Mm-hmm. I did it the last time.
Well, that's all you complain about, man. You know how long that flight is?
That's why
I didn't realize you had been there before. That was a flight. I didn't sleep when I went on that flight, though. And then when I landed, that was the mistake that I had. Is that John had me the last year? We stayed up the night before, like all throughout the night, so that we could sleep on the plane. And then I get on the first leg from West Palm to Texas, and I did sleep, But then when I made it to Texas, I woke up and then I was awake the entire flight to Japan. So then we get to Japan, and then it's like the whole way, bro. We're like hanging out, going to Tokyo, and it's like I stayed up for like 36 hours.
Now, I intend to get 8 hours of sleep on this flight, without a doubt, even if I have to take something to do it or drink something to do it.
I'm going to be over Calvin.
And go to sleep, man. That's it.
That's it, man.
I was getting caught up on movies, man. You know how many movies they have on a flight like that? I was watching like 5-6 movies.
I know, right? International flights are pretty awesome because the entertainment is pretty sweet.
Yeah, I was like, I hadn't seen that movie before. I was like, started watching it. I was like,
unless you're sitting next to a fat guy, you can't fit in the chair.
I'm sitting next to George. What are you trying to say? What's going on here? Thought we were friends.
He's working out, so he should be thinner by the time he gets on the plane.
Yeah, trying to be a little bit lighter before I get there.
George, I'm just giving you shit, man. All right,
it's all good. It's all good. I know. I've put on some pounds.
That is not what I meant at all. That was playing off JR being dumb. Oh God!
Come out here in April.
So Frank the Tank wants to know if we like any animes.
I am really interested in seeing the reveal of the Attack on Titan statue, which I want to catch up on Attack on Titan, so I know a lot more about that by the time I land. But
yeah, so because I think they may. I think when Shanab was on our show, he said that they may be revealing, and I don't remember.
I think that is going to be a reveal there.
Okay,
and it is really cool. I mean, at least last year when I went, the amount of anime statues that are out there is that's the thing. It's more of that than anything else.
Yeah. I'm hoping they actually make it over here for one of the cons though, because he was definitely interested in coming.
True. So it should be dope, man. I'm excited about that. It's what?
Yeah, it's gonna be fun.
Yeah.
It's gonna be fun. Maybe we'll get it. Maybe. Hey, we might get to go to Tokyo Disneyland or something. You know, I know how much you love Disneyland.
Definitely going to Tokyo. You know that's part of the reason why I was a little bit grumpy before we got on the show today is because my wife tells me this today that she's going to Disney World Saturday, right? So I'm like, shit, we're going to Disney World. That's what's up. You know, she's like, no, I'm going to Disney World with my sister and the kids, and you're staying your ass home. I'm like, you know, I was like, that's messed up. So
too bad your ass got served.
Huh?
So too bad your ass got served.
I know, man. That's some messed up stuff.
He just went to Disney last weekend by himself. So what's the
I did not
deal?
go to Disneyland by myself last week. I had
You were with your daughter and Christus, the Batman statue collector was there, right? You saw the
My wife was there too.
Oh, okay. My bad. My me. I'm sorry.
I don't go there usually without her. So, or my kids.
I thought you and just a little one went.
No. Yeah, no. Although last time we went, I took her on the Barnstormer. Finally, she freaked the fuck out.
You got season pass, right, George?
Yeah, I got season pass.
Yeah. Okay. For all 5 parts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome. Okay. That's awesome. Okay.
Yeah. So I
And you
will
go
be
every
there when
weekend?
Star Wars Land opens.
Every weekend you go?
No, we're like 3 hours away.
You wish you could go
I
every
wish.
weekend.
Yeah, I know. Hell, I'd buy a house right next to it if I could afford it.
Oh. Well, you can move into the Star Wars section.
Oh yeah.
But that's when everything's gonna go up in price.
That's why I got season passes, so I don't got to pay for that extra bump in price if they do it. I heard they're going to be doing that in Disneyland.
It's still gonna go up for everyone. They're still gonna. It happened to everyone. Even the pass holders is still went up. Because I'm a pass holder too.
The pass holder pays for their tickets ahead of time though. You're paying a monthly fee.
Well, yeah, but what will happen is when it's time to renew.
To renew,
like,
it's gonna probably go up at that point.
Yeah, but you'll get that discount. Like, you know, if you're renewing, they'll give you the 15%. You know, so you'll get it cheaper that way. But unfortunately, when it goes up, they're gonna be going up for everyone. Yeah. So I'll be there though. We can do a live broadcast from there. Let's do it. Oh
yeah, bro.
Let's do it, man.
Yeah. Actually, I got a buddy that told me that he may be able to get me into the one in Disneyland also, because that one opens in the summer. So if I get out there for San Diego Comic-Con, you know, maybe I'll check that out. So,
yeah, I noticed when you got out there this year, the first thing you did instead of going to any place else, you went to Disneyland first.
I had to check out California Adventure, man. I've never been there before.
And then, can I ask you something, George? Does season pass work in any Disneyland?
No, it doesn't.
No, only
works in Orlando, yeah. You have to buy it specifically for wherever you're going.
Oh, that sucks.
Yeah, I got to agree.
They
don't even give you a discount on it, so.
Nope.
Oh.
Yo, that's how the mouse makes his money, yo.
Yeah.
Yo,
hey, you know there's Universal, you know, because vacations grow up like people.
No, my daughters aren't ready for Universal. And not for nothing, I can't see myself buying Universal season passes because when I go there, I have a great time the time that I go there. But once I leave, I don't feel the need like I miss something, you know?
Do you feel the need you missed something at Disney? Are you serious?
Yeah, dude, food.
Are you serious?
Drinking. There's all kinds of good, and I think the restaurants at Disney World are way better than Universal.
They are, but I'm telling you what, man. Universal. I don't mind going to Disney. Epcot's my favorite. Unless I'm with the youngins, we go to Magic Kingdom, but go to Epcot. But Universal, man. Oh man, I think I ride Spider-Man like 3 times when I'm there in a day.
Did you guys hear about Disney making one now off of the Vader fan film on YouTube? Apparently, they took legal action. They went after that guy, Johnny.
What? What the hell? What happened?
So there's a dude that I think it's called Star Wars Explained or something like that. He's got a Star Wars YouTube channel. The guy decided that he was going to take and make a fan film for Darth Vader. You know, so he did the production himself and everything, I believe, and it's okay. I mean, it was an okay film. And he's saying, I guess, that Disney took legal action against him for it.
Wow.
I mean, are you surprised? I'm curious. I mean, why?
That's the thing that I mean, I like going to Disney World and everything, but not for nothing, man. When Star Wars was owned by Lucasfilm, George Lucas did not care about people making fan films. In fact, he even hosted those fan films right on the Star Wars website, and it was cool. He even hired some people that did these things and you know, the production. And hired them at Lucasfilm because they were talented people. Up, you know, and Disney is all about that fucking money, and they just they hammer everybody for every stupid thing that they feel they can get money from. You know, and
wow, you just went from 0 to 60 real fast. You were like,
I know, right?
Because dude, you know, I really enjoy
taking my money.
I look at it, and he's a passer too. He's throwing money out of it.
The problem is that all these people that do this stuff are fans who have love for this.
Exactly. It wasn't like they're taking and charging admission.
Yeah, you know, and that's what gets me upset. You know, let's say, because I heard also too. Is this true though, George? Don't quote me anybody on this. You can't play any kind of music when you're doing a video, can you?
No,
if it's in the background, they pick it up now.
Yeah. Huh? But that's the copyright law. Like, I mean,
I can't play a song behind me that's hip hop or something when I'm.
No, I was shooting live, me playing Spider-Man, and because a part of the Spider-Man game it puts you like in some kind of party and there's music playing, I got demonetized because that music was playing in the video game.
I got flagged for one that I did as well, but what they did was instead of telling me that I couldn't do it, they took over the video and decided that they were going to place ads on my video that I had no control over, or I had to take the music out if I didn't agree to it.
Mm.
Wow, so you can't. Wow, that's man, that's crazy, man.
No, I guess I don't know.
I mean, I understand if you use the music if you're like doing a movie or something, but when you're doing like a review on a statue or a review on something, and you just want a little bit of a background music to
you have to get. There's music you can get that's royalty free.
Yeah,
or you can pay for it. There's sites where you can pay and you can get royalty.
YouTube has a really vast collection of music that's royalty free. That sounds really good, actually.
Okay, all right. That's crazy, man. Not even music you can use. That's sorry, man. That's freaking sorry. They make all these millions and that's just sorry, man.
But Johnny said that they're letting him do it, but they're going to take the money from it, and that's fine, because it's not his intellectual property, and I get that. But if you're going to shut somebody down for that kind of that to me that's art, and you have a love for the content, and you're trying to just make something that's cool, and you're showing off your talents. I don't think you should nail somebody for something like that, man. That guy's not trying to charge anybody for that. He's not.
You should give a guy like that a job. That's what they should be doing.
Yeah.
People come out with their art, the different ways to do things, and they do a good job. Why don't you just give them a job? Stop complaining about it. I just feel like a lot of people just this world just becomes so greedy with everything. Everybody's just greedy. Everybody wants to cut. You got somebody that makes up a song millions of dollars, and you go ahead and use it for a couple of reviews. And use it for a couple of review videos, and now they want to charge you. Now they want to sue you for $100,000 because you used a little bit of the music to make a video. Yeah, that's just come on, man. I mean, if I'm the guy making that song, that kind of makes me feel good that you guys are using it for your stuff. I already made my money off it, man.
Okay, I went to school for music business, and not to say anything, but when it comes to like legalization with music and copyright, there's a whole bunch of things. And something that a lot of people that listen to music that don't know the business side of it, when a lot of those artists sign contracts, they actually make no money off those songs. And actually, the people that would make the real money off of any song is the person that writes the song. But that's a whole other conversation that we can have for another day. But I would just say, for the music side of it, yes, you have those people that make lots of money, or the artists that you do know. But think about the artists that aren't well known, that actually need the money that for the living that they're making. As someone that's try to make it in the music industry and still makes music on the side and stuff like that. There's a whole
artists do make money off their music.
Depending on what it is, and and like I said, there's a whole legal side of it, and there's a whole business side of it too. That
I can understand what he's saying though.
I get what you're saying. Like, hey, you're just trying to have some background music, but at the same time, man, as I have songs that are copyrighted, and if someone took my song and then they use it on a commercial, and I didn't see any type of money for that, like, I would be really upset.
All right, so but then again, you look at all these Facebook pages and you see all these twerk songs and you see all these people doing this on Facebook and using these songs to do their stuff on Facebook. It should be the same thing. Why they're not? It's the same thing if you use YouTube. It's the same thing.
Facebook and YouTube might have different copyright laws and different contracts with that. So Facebook might have something with music, like with actual, ASCAP and BMI, and these are companies that provide music for out into the world. So Facebook's contract with ASCAP and BMI might be different. So they might have some sort of legal. I
mean, in Facebook, reasons. They play every kind of songs.
For sure. But Facebook might have some sort of contract with, like I said, these companies that allow you to do that. Like as someone that played in a band at bars, I used to play this one venue that you were not allowed to play any type of cover. Like if I played someone else's song, we can get in trouble because that venue didn't have a license to play other people's music. So like I said, there's a whole legal side of things, like with the music part that it's hard, but it's business, and Frank the Tank said it earlier, it's business. Like, unfortunately, when it comes down to that, and even with this guy making that YouTube video with, the Darth Vader thing, unfortunately, it's business,
I want to
Frank, he didn't try to make money from it. He didn't use any of the original music. He had his own original score for it. They made their costumes. They had their own set. They even did like this whole digital intro where you have like a space like a ship landing on another ship, like there's the midst of it, like a space battle.
So what I think what George, one of the things too, I mean, taking the other side, like what Chad was saying, a lot of times these companies, in my opinion, from what I see, they want to protect their brand as well, because if they just open it up for people to do things with their stuff, they can't control the image that's put out there. So you may have characters and you may have things that you want a certain image or a certain brand to be maintained. So if this guy is, let's say if you're a fan and he's making this stuff, but yet he puts X-rated stuff in it or R-rated stuff in it or whatever the case may be, he's a fan, he's parodying it, but it does something to the brand that these companies may not want you to do. So I think you can't like dice and slice it. You either have to have rules or you don't on copyrighted stuff.
I mean, the thing is, it's 2019, man. Like things are changing so much, and like if you even look at the way, people carry them, like you can't even say certain things nowadays. You know what I'm saying?
I found that out last week,
different, right? Exactly. Compared to like let's just say 5 or 10 years ago. You know what I mean? Like it's just 2019. Things are changing, and everyone's out to get theirs. So of course they're gonna make sure that legally they take care of those things,
Hey, chat. All right. What's going on in the comic book world?
Well, bro, I mean, I was going to mention earlier, I got a stack of comics here. Some of the books that you guys saw me pick up in that last video. Yeah, man, we can go over some. I mean, I guess I got to show a couple off that I recently read that we talked about last week on the podcast. Heroes in Crisis, #4. This is a great read. This is a great book. I highly recommend. If you're not reading Heroes in Crisis by Tom King, you need to get on it. He's doing great things in the DC world. And then I mentioned it last week, man, but Immortal Hulk, bro, your boy.
Yeah.
You need to check this out, man. It's really good.
Hulk. Okay.
This issue itself was phenomenal. I enjoyed it a lot. And I'm excited to see what's going to be happening next.
Immortal Hulk, yeah.
And then just some of the most recent reads that I have read. Conan, this is a sick cover.
That's a nice cover.
Yeah, a lot of people are excited that Marvel got the rights back to Conan. I should probably display this over here so you can check that out. And then I guess the one, hold on, there was one, this one right here. This one's for George. I'm excited to read this, man.
You want that? I didn't hear it. I didn't see that.
Yeah, bro. I'm excited to see what's going to be happening in that. And then my big find of that last video was first appearance of Rogue, king size annual 10. So with everything coming over to Marvel, who knows what's going to be happening with all these X-Men characters. I mean, speaking a little bit of comic books, today it was announced that Booster Gold's going to be in that Blue Beetle movie. So his first appearance started to go up in price. And then I don't know if you guys saw or read, but Tom Holland tweeted out that he talked to Sony. So who knows what's going to happen with our good old Spider-Man. So
that's be cool.
All right.
Well, it's 10:30, so let's get a wrap up here.
Calvin has to go to sleep. Come on, let's go wrap it up.
No, for sure.
All right, so real quick, let's go down the line about anything you guys got coming out. We'll start off with Seth. Seth, what you got coming up this week?
So, new hunting video drops tomorrow, but that's not the big news. The big news is the pop-off. The pop-off is returning. It will be back Saturday night at 5 o'clock on MCE. It will be Sergeant Funko defending his title against Hockey Hunter. So this should be one for the ages. You know, they both put out
promos,
pretty good promos. Eric's promo was good up until a certain point, and then Sarge just completely destroyed him.
I like Hockey Hunter, man. I'm gonna go with Hockey Hunter, even though I know you all say that he's destined to lose. I'm
I would say this: Hockey Hunter has a following. He was voted into Sarge's top moments of 2018. So
I like the guy.
I love him, man.
I like the guy.
So,
you know, and then what we're actually doing something different too. Friday night at 6 o'clock. It'll be on Sarge's channel, and it'll be on our MCE as well. We'll be doing a live press conference the night before the fight.
Okay, all right.
The night before the pop-off.
So some talking. So
the commissioner, the new commissioner of the pop-off, Joe, will be there, and he will be fielding questions, and you know, people in the chat can ask questions to Sarge and Hockey Hunter, and it'll definitely be a lot of fun. You know, we're really excited where the direction of this is headed right now. So hopefully it'll be one of our more entertaining shows, and we'll go from there.
All right, Calvin, you got anything coming up this week, bro?
Friday, we've got Collected on a Budget. Like I said, I just saw Aquaman, and I got a pretty, I think, impressive Diamond Select figure that I'm going to review, and that's about it.
And also, you're gonna be selling the Green Goblin live.
Yeah, that too. Once I get the Venom bust to replace it, absolutely.
Junior, what are we reviewing this week, bro?
Superman.
Premium format.
Premium format from Sideshow has back there.
All right.
So we'll get that one down and take a look at that between that me and you. Also, hopefully before Friday, she'll also be receiving the Joker from Prime One Studios Origins.
All right.
Supposed to be here Wednesday. So when we get around that, that'll be the second review if we can get to it before the end of the week. Right. So we'll have a Prime One and Superman. So.
All right. Okay. Chad, got anything coming up?
Yeah, man, I got a lot. So, as you all know, we had our first episode of Comic Chat with Chad. So we'll have the second episode hopefully coming out by Thursday. I should have everything Wednesday, because Wednesday is when new comic book days come out. Also Wednesday on my YouTube channel at Chad90MF Comics, I'll be live streaming my comic book podcast, so you can check us out there. And then hopefully I will also be getting a second video for you guys this week on a Venom run, one of my favorite Venom runs. So it'll be a little kind of review and hopefully be coming soon your way. So thank you guys.
Sweet.
All right.
And of course, the showstopper.
I got the Prime One Studios Venom coming in. This is based on the comic Dark Origin. We also going to have a giveaway on that video related to the statue. So definitely check that one out. It's going to be one massive ass piece from what I've seen. So I'm really excited to see that one. So that should be here Thursday. So I got a lot to do with that one. I heard the build on it is going to be something phenomenal. So I may have to break that video up into how to put this thing together, and then another one on the actual review. So if you guys want to let me know in the comments, how would you rather see that? Would you rather just see a high speed put together, or would you guys actually like to know how this thing goes together? So I'd like to know that.
I'd like you to make a video of how you're going to get it from where it's coming from to your house.
It's simple. It's called Seth Bus.
Called Seth's truck.
I put it on Seth's back, and he carries it over like a horse.
No.
All right. Did you guys do Marvel Egg Attack figures? Egg Attack.
Yeah, those are
Seth
the
has
beast.
got one.
Those are the Beast Kingdom
Yeah,
ones. That's
the Beast
the
Kingdom
Hulk
ones. Those are
Buster
dope.
that I have in my office.
Yeah, those are pretty dope.
Okay.
If you guys want to know about those things, check out. Well, maybe we'll look at that one. There are pretty cool pieces though. That's something we'll get to see when we're out there too, Calvin. They have a Beast Kingdom is out at.
Oh, pretty awesome.
Yeah, so that'd be cool to see.
Yeah, I got that.
It's gonna be great,
I got that Egg Attack when we went to what is it? Star Wars, right?
Yep.
Yeah,
Hey,
I'm the only guy that goes to Star Wars to buy Marvel stuff.
Hey, I got a question before we go, George and Calvin. I can't ask this for you, Seth, because I don't know if you know about this, but they have what do you think about the Gambit from Sideshow?
They haven't released the
The
original.
old one. Oh, yes, the original one.
Oh, yeah. I've wanted that for a while, but I'm not going to pay what people are asking for.
That's what I was going to ask you. Some of them are asking like 15 for that thing.
Yeah.
No.
No, I'm never going to pay that for a statue. Not for three. No.
That's right.
And people complain about prices and things like that all the time. The prices are what they are because people are willing to pay for them. Period.
I was like, no way.
No.
It's true. It's true.
Now tell me. I want to get this information from you, Calvin. What would be a good price to you from that statue being out so long ago?
Under $1,000 for sure.
Okay. All right. So 8.
I'm not buying
900.
any quarter scale statues over $1,000 ever again. Period.
Okay. All right. Just wanted to hear the feedback. And you, George?
I wouldn't pay over $500 for that piece. I don't like
Yeah,
it.
I'm with George on that. I'm with George. Yeah.
I've never been a real big fan of that Gambit. I know there are a lot of people that are, but I've never been a big fan of that Gambit. So, yeah, it's not something that I would go buy.
And what? So you're expecting a new one to come out? What do you think?
I'm hoping that they come out with a new one. They haven't really announced that. It would be nice if they actually have a companion to go with Rogue. So
Okay.
I'm kind of hoping they show something like that.
That's good to know your feedback on that. Thank you so much. Appreciate that.
No problem. All right, guys. So that's our show. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, please give us a thumbs up. And if you're new here, hit subscribe. You're going to catch all of our shows at the MCE Central website. And you can catch That Geek Show every Monday nights at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time right here on the YouTube channel. My voice is going. So, guys, I appreciate you hanging out with us. I really had a good time with y'all. If you guys come back next week, we'll see you then. And until next time, keep it marvelous.
Keep it marvelous.
Keep it marvelous, everyone.
That's what's popping.
Only Seth.
Right? Only Seth. Exactly.
Oh man, Calvin,
It's all about brand recognition. We got to get the brand out there. We got to get itself out there on its own.
you guys crack me up. Yo, you crack me up, but that's a 1500.